endlessly streaming, and the rocket's red glide, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
They're ready for baseball in Omaha. Hurston Waldrop, Nate Ackenhausen, the pitching matchup. Is today the day, Ben?
I can't say that it is. I don't know that it is, but I wouldn't bet against LSU, man. They have just overcome so much since getting to the College World Series.
Wind is an issue there in Omaha. Again, the dream matchup. LSU and Florida. Game 2 of the College World Series Finals. We send it out to Omaha and Mike Monaco.
Kevin, thank you. Welcome to Omaha for Game 2 of the Men's College World Series Finals. And somehow the last 9 days here have been even better than we hoped. And today we're promised at least one more chapter in this epic tale. LSU leads 1-0 in this best of 3, and it's Tigers and Gators.
College baseball's best have come to Omaha for nearly 75 years, but never has O-Town seen an OMG series like this year. The survivors of this battle royal are two hardball titans. LSU owns 6 championships, but none since 2009. Their last title shot was ended 6 years ago by Florida. That year, the Gators chomped first. This time, it was the Tigers who chewed their way through Game 1. Yet another historic pitching performance.
17 strikeouts.
Another one-run game.
That ball is hammered to right field.
Once again preserved by redonkulous defense and decided by yet another dramatic home run.
Big-time home run to put the Tigers on top.
As great as tonight felt, we still know we need to get one more done.
I mean, it's in the past. We're going to do everything in our power to force a Game 3 on Monday.
What else could we want? And where else would we want to be? Because if this June in this town has taught us anything, it's that we have no idea what will happen next. Welcome to the 2023 Men's College World Series Finals. Play ball, y'all.
And welcome to Omaha, where the wind is blowing out today as we welcome you to the NCAA Men's College World Series presented by Capital One. Last Friday, we started with 8 teams here in Omaha, and through all the drama, Florida and LSU withstood and advanced to this best of 3 finals. And now Florida, number 2 in the country, must win today and hopes to force a decisive Game 3 tomorrow. After LSU won Game 1 in 11 innings last night and is now 1 win away from what would be a 7th national championship. With that, we say hello and thanks for joining us. Kyle Peterson, Chris Burke, Mike Monaco with you. Chris Budden joins us shortly. And guys, every time it feels like we've reached the peak here, it just gets better.
What are we going to see next? I mean, it just every day is what are we going to see next? What we're going to see next is a wind blowing out. There could be some fireworks, Berkey.
LSU, LSU in search of a first national championship, Berkey. Since 2009, wind blowing out, they got some home runs yesterday.
It's been all about the power for LSU. Power arms, power bats. It's Tiger power, folks. It's been on full display. Tommy Tanks with one of the most memorable home runs we have ever seen in Omaha to put the Tigers into the finals. Then a home run late yesterday to even up the score, and Kay Peloso with a belly bomb in extra innings, the first one we've seen in the finals in extra innings. So the Tigers, number 2 in America in the long ball, 3 last night to propel them to a Game 1 victory.
A belly bomb and a good bat flip as well. for Cade Beloso. Other side, Florida's got a win today, and KP, they give the ball to a future first-round pick in Hurston Waldrop, who he's been at his best in the NCAA tournament.
He really has. I mean, the last 3 or 4 weeks, Waldrop has been about as good as anybody in the country. About 21 innings in the postseason. He's punched out 37. He did the exact same thing here in his only start at the College World Series. The key is the splitter, and it's as good a pitch as you're going to see in college baseball this year. I think when you look to the LSU side, it's how do they handle that pitch, and do they try to just stay off of it the entire time? Because guys that swing and miss about 2 out of every 3 times. So for Florida to play on, it feels like Waldrop has to be at his best.
In Game 2, after another classic last night, we are ready in Omaha at the College World Series Finals. When we come back, Chris Budden talks Tigers and titles. The NCAA Men's College World Series is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallets? And in part by Expedia, made to travel. And Chewy. Shop online at Chewy today and get great prices on pet essentials. A title on the line today. Let's go down to the field and check in with Chris Budden.
Hey, Mike, the expectations for LSU baseball is some of the highest in the country. And there's a reminder back home in Alex Box in case they ever forget. It's called the Omaha Room. Trophies, pictures, mementos of all their trips here, along with their 6 national championships. But there's been a drought since 2009. This team hoping to bring some hardware back to that Omaha Room.
I mean, it's an honor to bring LSU baseball back to the pinnacle of college baseball. We have an Omaha room, and you just want to add your little memento.
I get chills thinking about it. I saw the trophy downstairs for the first time during that press conference, and I just wanted to grab it. That's what we worked every single day since August 4.
Greatest accomplishment of my life, for sure. You know, being able to hold that trophy over my head with the best group of guys that I could ask for behind me, it means the world to me.
We've all been dreaming about this. I mean, this first talk of the year was talking about coming to Omaha and winning the thing and stuff, but now that we're actually here, it's just so surreal for all of us.
This is a roster that's from all over, but there are a bunch of Louisiana natives on this team, Cade Beloso being one of them. And when you talk about what this would mean to the state, to the fan base, it gets a little emotional when he thinks and envisions holding up that trophy today.
Yeah, Jay Johnson in year 2 trying to get them there. And in Game 2 today, he throws the junior lefty Nate Ackenhausen, an Oklahoma native, making just his 2nd start of the season, and they've both been here in Omaha.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think a week ago when we were talking about Nate Ackenhausen going to be an important part out of the bullpen. Well, he wasn't. He was an important part in a game to keep LSU's season going along. In that one against Tennessee, 6 innings, 4 hits, didn't walk anybody, punched out 7, and the off-speed stuff was outstanding.
He faces this Florida batting order brought to you by Capital One and Berkey. The stars need to be stars for the Gators.
Yeah, 152. It's alarming that they're at this point with those numbers. Something tells me those two have a big one in them today.
First pitch is cut on and missed by Cade Kurland at 91, and away we go with Game 2 in this best of 3. Florida hitters struck out 20 times and only walked twice in the 11 innings against the LSU Arms yesterday, headlined by Ty Floyd. Kevin O'Sullivan, the Florida head coach, said afterward, it's really the first time that maybe our swings got big with the moment and the stage here. Fouled away, 1-2 on Curry.
Yeah, I think the other side of that is Ty Floyd was special.
Yeah.
And we know the fastball was special. Last night it had even another gear to it. And he landed a slider and a changeup. Like, you know, yeah, could Florida have done better? Sure. But Ty Floyd was...
He was really good.
All-time great last night.
17 strikeouts across 8 innings. Tied for the 2nd most strikeouts in a game in Men's College World Series history. And so with Paul Skeens unavailable for a 2nd straight game, Ackenhausen on the bump, and it's a full count on Cade Kurland. Paul Skeens with the mustache in postseason form. Payoff to Kurland is bounced left side. And Jordan Thompson, who bumps into Tommy White, not in time. Cade Kurland is on to start things.
Well, I thought Kurland actually did Ackenhausen a favor there because he swung at ball 4, but Tommy White and Jordan Thompson, you want White to go get it. Like, just go run through that ball. He pulls up late, and at that point, they're going to run into each other, right? That's really Tommy White's ball. You want the third baseman to own that one. Of course, Jordan Thompson has to be in position in case White can't get there, but felt like White should have taken one more step and made that play running towards first base.
So the leadoff man on in front of Wyatt Langford, junior center fielder and Florida star. Projected top 3 overall draft pick, according to our Kylie McDaniel. Last 9 games, though, for Wyatt Langford. Just 5 for 36. Yesterday, 1 for 5, had a double in the 3rd. And then in the 10th, smoked that line out to left. The outs are loud.
Yeah, there's been tons of hard contact in that 5 for 36. He was hitting .399 before that 5 for 36. I mean, he's had an incredible season, but it doesn't feel very far off. And at a 2-0 count with the wind blowing out, watch out right here.
Ackenhausen will check out Curlin. How much of an impact should we make on the wind?
It's huge.
Yeah, I think it is too. And I think that, you know, Waldrop's a guy that doesn't give up quite as many fly balls. Ackenhausen can sometimes, and this ballpark is going to play different than it has the last 10 days.
That's a strike at 93, 2-1.
However, if you punch out 20 times, doesn't make that big of a difference. I mean, you still got to give yourself a chance, and that's the biggest thing that Florida needs to do. 36 combined strikeouts yesterday between these two teams.
3-1 on Langford.
Ackenhausen did not walk a soul in his last outing. He threw ball 4 to Curlin, who swung at ball 4. Now 3-ball count here to Langford. It certainly doesn't look as comfortable as it did in his first start against Tennessee.
Yeah, Ackenhausen was pitching there Tuesday against Tennessee, the first of LSU's 3 straight elimination games, and went a season-high 6 innings. A shutout ball with 7 strikeouts, also a season high. And Gavin Dugas said afterward, he saved our season. 3-1. Cut out and miss with a fastball.
Interesting. Took a 2-0 heater. Looked tardy there on a 3-1 heater. Maybe just swinging a little too hard here in Omaha for Wyatt Langford.
3-2.
Ball 4.
It's ball 4. Good take by Wyatt Langford, and the first 2 are on for Florida here in the first.
That was awfully close right there. Exactly where he was trying to go with that fastball. Langford sold it pretty well, and Jeff Head was buying it. And boy, this is an LSU staff that didn't pitch with much traffic yesterday, and they got their hands full here right out of the gate.
For Jack Caglione, who was one of those 3 Golden Spikes Award finalists. He's got 31 home runs. Nobody in the country has more. He's tied for first, of course, with Wake Forest star Brock Wilken. Like we showed you off the top, like Wyatt Langford, Jack Caglione trying to get rolling. Oh, 1. This is outside.
And I would say, unlike Wyatt Langford, the outs have not been loud. Right? He's got 2 hits, 1 a single, and then the other one a pop-up double that was probably a pretty friendly scoring. He has not been real competitive with his at-bats to this point.
1-1 pitch. On the ground sharply to Trey Morgan, who gobbles and gets the first out.
I'm surprised that Morgan didn't go to second on that, because that was hit hard enough, and especially with the left-hander, there's, you would think, plenty of time to get the lead runner. 108 off the bat for Cags, and Berkey hit this one hard, just hit it right out.
Yeah, he's got a great angle to throw that ball to. Trey Morgan didn't even think about it. And they wouldn't have turned 2 there, but it'd be nice to have 1 less runner in scoring position. A missile off the bat of Caglione, who just hasn't been able to get the ball elevated here.
So it brings up the All-American shortstop, Josh Rivera. And he takes ball 1 to start. Florida now 3 for 33 with runners in scoring position here at the College World Series. Rivera's got 3 home runs his last 6 games. Takes down 2-0.
you know, it was a very loose Florida dugout. You guys were down there with me. Like this dugout, very confident, very loose. And this is a dream scenario here to start. Second and third with one of their best run producers up and a hitter's count.
2-0. Hurls to the bottom of the zone for a called strike.
Well, obviously, always an advantage to get ahead. I mean, that's pretty simple math. But in this one, when LSU already has a 1-0 lead, if you get ahead, they're going to use their bullpen totally different than if they are ahead.
2-1. That's a strike. 2-2.
Couple good breaking balls there. Don't know if that one got all the way back, but Jeff Head thought it did, and I wouldn't be surprised if they stick with that breaking ball here with first base open.
Ackenhausen's 2-2. There's a fastball cut on and missed. 2 gone.
No, it's interesting because Ackenhausen against right-handers this year, the swing and miss percentage on the slider and the changeup both above 50%. On the fastball, significantly less, but still went back to it right there with Rivera. That had maybe just enough arm side run to get it off the bat, but a giant strikeout right there for Nate Ackenhausen, his first of the day.
He's a guy who's got reverse splits, so he's actually been far tougher on righties, and lefties like BT Riopel have seen him better. Fifth-year senior catcher in the 5 spot.
Whoa,
takes ball 1.
What a missed chance, right? You had 2-0 count with a runner on third base, and Rivera comes up empty. Love to see Riopel cash it in right here.
Riopel with 6 hits in the tournament, and 5 of them are home runs. Outside 2-0. Yesterday, a solo shot in the 6th to the pull side for BT Riopel. 2-0. Fouled back.
5 homers and a double. That's been his postseason.
Plays.
Just, he'd love a little roller here in the 4 hole. Just like, he's probably thinking, you know, 3-run homer wouldn't be bad either, but a pretty remarkable run of power production from the Gator captain here in this postseason.
He's got a 2-1 count against Nate Ackenhausen here in the first. The pitch. That's down and away, 3-1. Ackenhausen already up at 24 pitches.
More balls and strikes, and that was not the approach just a week ago.
3-1. Up the ladder and pop foul. And a full count again.
That was ball 4. We've seen that twice. Kerlin did it to start, and he reached, but right there, Riopel did it 3-1. Now he's got to go back to work.
Luke Heyman would be next. The LSU fans activate in the first. The 3-2. Strike 3 calls. Nate Ackenhausen leaves 2 in the first.
And to clean up a little mess right here, but this is a pretty good way to do it. Left on left slider freezes BT Riopel, a scoreless first. Tigers coming up next.
Florida comes up empty after a big opportunity in the top of the first, and now Jay Johnson's Tigers bat for the first time, and let's get you their batting order. Brought to you by Capital One, headlined by the newly minted Golden Spikes Award winner Dylan Cruz.
Congratulations to Dylan Cruz, one of the best college careers you can draw up, and punctuated by a Golden Spikes Award, and he's hoping it's really punctuated by a national championship here this afternoon.
Chris Button was with his folks, George and Kim, right before the game, and now LSU faces Hurston Waldrop, 3rd in the country in strikeouts.
Yeah, Dylan and the Tigers have their hands full today, though, because they're facing a really good one. We talked about Waldrop in that split. It's a mid-90s fastball, and it could be more than that. I mean, he can show you 97s, 98s. The split is the difference maker. You just can't get to 2 strikes, because when it gets to 2 strikes, that's when he uses it even more. He can land the split, but when he gets to 2 strikes, that's generally when he's going to get swing and miss out of the zone.
Kylie McDaniel said yesterday on Baseball Tonight, it now looks like Hurston Waldrop will not get past pick number 20. Jeff Passan said he's heard him mentioned in the top 10.
Last 3 weeks haven't hurt. and he started throwing that thing more. We said it on the open. 21 innings in the postseason. He struck out 37. He's using the split more than he did during the regular season.
It was one of the big storylines coming into this finals that Florida had its starting pitching aligned optimally, whereas LSU did not. First pitch from Waldrop is 98 down low to Dylan Cruz. On the ground sharply past the dive of Colby Halter. And Dylan Cruz has a leadoff single in the home half of the first.
That's what he's done all year long. An on-base machine has now reached base in every game this season. Leads the country in runs, and when he gets on, it works out pretty well for this Tiger lineup.
He is #1 on Kylie's MLB draft rankings. And that's in front of this guy, Tommy White, who's up to 101 RBIs, now second most in the country. Had the solo home run in the 8th inning yesterday that tied the game 3-3. And that was a look at the split change from Hurston Waldrop.
You can have the greatest plan in the world, but when you get up there and you see that thing, there's just not too many that are like that at any level.
1-1. Fastball fouled away at 99.
Oh, it's interesting with Waldrop. I mean, he's been up to 99 already. The slugging percentage against the fastball this year, excuse me, the OPS is above 1,000. I mean, guys hit that pitch well. Against the split, it's 222.
Well,
just misses. That was the split change there.
Wow. Waldrop had to shake that one off. That's a tough call for the Gators right there.
It's a pitch that generates whiffs like that on 2/3 of the swings, and it's the first K for Hurston Waldrop, and there's one gone in the first.
You talk about it.
Well, I mean, you said it, don't get to 2 strikes, right? And you look, there's the grip, and it's a low spin pitch. Like he will spin that thing under 1,000 RPMs, which, you know, a normal breaking ball is somewhere in 2,500s. This is an off-speed pitch that is just a gravity ball that almost wobbles on its way to the plate and just gives hitters fits because the trajectory out of the hand is actually flat and the ball just doesn't arrive.
Oh. Starts with ball 1 to Trey Morgan, the junior first baseman. Excellent defensively, and he's had a great postseason for the Tigers.
Well,
that misses on a splitter. I mean, to put it in context, we showed you the numbers. 65% whiff rate. That is absurd, and it's the second highest whiff rate in the entire sport.
Yes.
Well,
that misses, and it's 3-0 on Trey Morgan. Waldrop's 3-0. That's a strike at 97, and it's 3-1. Hurston Waldrop trying to feel out the strike zone.
I don't know that anybody's felt it out quite yet. Jeff Head is one of the best that we have in the collegiate game, and it's been a little inconsistent so far.
Morgan chops it up the middle, and Josh Rivera, 2 down.
I like that, though, sending Dylan Cruz. There's a hitter up to bat with tremendous bat to ball, and a guy on the mound who's going to induce a bunch of grounders. Put him in motion, and now you got a run scoring opportunity here for Gavin Dugas.
Who's the 5th-year senior from Houma, Louisiana, and wears that coveted number 8 jersey for a 2nd straight season. Best exemplifies the spirit of the program with leadership and dedication to one of the upperclassmen. He's got it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it just shows you the kind of kid he is, the kind of leader he is. And a team where Dylan Cruz is the Golden Spikes Award winner and Mr. Everything. Gavin Dugas is the one that wears number 8.
He bats with Cruz at second and 2 outs. 2-1.
Looked like the takes that we saw last night for Dugas. Spitting on a changeup just down and out right there. Spitting on 2 pretty good splits already in this at bat.
Goes the opposite way toward the gap in right center and splits it all the way to the wall. Gavin Dugas puts the Tigers on top here in game 2. How locked in is this guy?
Oh. They got him out with a bunch of sliders last night, and after spitting on a couple of splits, he earns himself a slider. Here you see a slider just sitting there. But I love how he keeps his chest over the plate, just does a beautiful job of staying on and through that baseball, and 106 miles an hour in the right center field gap. And that's why he wears number 8. Boy, does he have a knack for the big hit.
He's got a homer and now 2 doubles and 4 hits total in these 2 games in the finals. And now ball 1, the K to Beloso, the 5th-year senior DH from New Orleans. He's had his best season with the bat. 3 hits yesterday, including that home run in the 11th that put LSU up 4-3. We could hear him in the dugout saying after his home run that he couldn't breathe amid all the excitement. 2-0. That's down, and it's 3-0 from Hurston Waldrop.
They're not even messing with him.
Well, you want to swing, go ahead. But first base open now, 3-0 to Beloso, who's already hit 2 in the seats in this series.
Ball 4.
Inside, and a 4-pitch walk. 2 aboard with 2 outs for Hayden Travinski. Hayden Travinski is the redshirt junior from Shreveport, Louisiana, who raked down the stretch. But it's his first start since Monday now. He did start the first 2 games here in Omaha and has been dealing with an injury to his rib cage. Came off the bench in game 1 yesterday and gets a start here today.
Yeah, and hit a pretty deep fly ball out to center field and showed no ill effects of whatever he's dealing with. And so on a day where the conditions seem to be very offensive, it makes sense. If he's feeling anywhere close to 100%, you got to have a bat with this kind of thunder in your lineup.
BT Riopel with visit number 1 to the mound for Hurston Waldrop. Who has not thrown a first pitch strike to the 6 batters he's faced now here in this first. 1-0. Travinski couldn't hold up. The 1-1. That's strike 1 and 2.
If he lands it like he does back-to-back right there, then he flips the count. Then it gets totally different. LSU can't just sit and watch it there. This is the first time today that he's been able to do that.
You talked earlier about the fastball, but there's been so much more off speed during this stretch from Hurston Waldrop.
And the numbers have been significantly better. I mean, he went into the postseason with an ERA. I mean, look at the stuff. With an ERA that was not too far away from 5. It's done nothing but drop since then, but a lot of that is due to the increased usage of the split.
He's only thrown about 41% fastballs this postseason.
2-2. That's high and a full count on Travinski. Braden Jobert would be next. 3-2.
Ball 4.
Misses, and they are loaded for LSU. Brandon Sproat, the starter in game 1 for Florida, really had to work. Ended up throwing 111 pitches across 4 innings, and now 26 in counting for Hurston Waldrop in the first in game 2.
And it's a Gator bullpen that was taxed heavily last night.
Well, here is the redshirt junior Braden Jobert. Takes ball 1. Jobert 3 strikeouts yesterday. He also faced Hurston Waldrop last year, punched out 3 times All on splitters. That's a slider that misses. And now the second visit used by Florida here in the first.
Well, you know, it's one thing to pitch around your fastball when you got command of everything else. When you don't, at some point you're going to have to throw the heater.
Yeah, I mean, you got to throw whatever you can throw to throw strikes. And right now the split is not there. I mean, it's darn near 2-1 balls to strikes right now. But I think this visit is a reminder to say, hey, you're one pitch away from getting in the dugout, and that's a 1-0 game. We're going to score runs there. At least you would think they are, given the way that this setting is. Now it's just reset the mind to where, okay, we got some traffic and you worked a little bit harder than you want. You still one away from getting us back in there.
And can Waldrop limit it the way Brandon Sproat did, especially early in the game yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, the first 4 innings, LSU left 10 on yesterday.
And 17 total. On the ground, right side at Cade Curlin. Caglione to the bag, inning over. LSU strikes first and leaves them loaded, and in game 2 in Omaha, the Tigers have the lead.
Welcome back to Omaha. Tigers up 1-0. You know, Luke Heyman grew up in Longwood, Florida. You would think maybe would be a Gator fan. He did not. He grew up an FSU fan. Don't tell anybody. Mom went there. Grandparents went there. Grew up going to sporting events. Eventually just fell in love with the Florida baseball program. It was tough for Mom, though, because she had to start wearing blue and orange, and she would refuse to buy anything that had the Gator logo. So she'd go to Etsy, and she'd get, you know, made with Florida, and, you know, didn't want to put the Gator on it. Now she's fully accepted it.
Berkey's a big Etsy guy.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He kind of designs his own clothes. It's a good touch.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, Etsy, huh? Okay.
Not a lot of time spent there. Button has spoiled the secret to all of America as the freshman Luke Heyman climbs in against Nate Ackenhausen here in the second. Boy, an eventful edge of your seat first inning.
And 1 run. For all of that, 1 run.
A combined 55 pitch first inning. 1-2 from Ackenhausen. Up and away.
We don't just have high drama games here in Omaha. It's innings.
Yes.
Okay? We're on the edge of our seat on an inning by inning basis.
2-2. Up the ladder. 3 Ks in a row for Nate Ackenhausen.
Well, that was the story last night, was up the ladder. And Florida could not hold off of Ty Floyd's fastball up in the zone. Ackenhausen doesn't do it quite as much, but that time did the same thing as we saw last night. Grab the 4-seamer, just throw right through those seams. Back-to-back-to-back strikeouts for Ackenhausen.
Who now faces Tyler Shelna. 7-spot left fielder takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Ackenhausen mixed in the off-speed Tuesday. In particular, the changeup. He said after his start in that one was really working for him. It averages 84, 85. That was 86.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. Got really good down to it too. Both of his breaking ball and his changeup are his 2 best pitches.
Shelnut strikes out. Off speed, and it's 4 punch outs in a row.
Okay, so what is it? Because I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but right-handers swing and miss at that pitch over 50% of the time. There's something about it, whether it's deception, the spin. I don't know what it is, but that's what happens when he throws it.
Yeah, you could. Shelnut certainly didn't see the spin there because that was a middle breaking ball.
And now a change up to start to Ty Evans, right fielder in the 8 spot. He's got 4 hits here in Omaha, and they are all extra base hits. That one foul. No, they say that's fair. Evans didn't even leave home plate, and that ball is gone. Well, we told you there would be offense with the wind blowing, and Ty Evans down the line, and this game is tied.
Why he's in there, Berkey?
Yeah, Ty Evans is leading the College World Series in home runs.
And he didn't start game 1.
I don't know that anybody had that on their bingo card, a 4-seamer down and in, and is what you call dropping the head on one, and he's just not sure. Is that one going to stay straight? This is where the wind blowing out helps it, right? Because the ball does not curve as much side to side. And you can see where this one lands relative to the fans up there in that walkway. That is a fair ball, and the Gators are all tied up.
That is a bolt for Ty Evans, the sophomore from Auburndale, Florida, who originally last Friday in the first game here for the Gators came on late as a pinch hitter. And what a burst he has been for Florida.
Man, 3 homers and a double. That one was 109 off the bat and 423 feet.
Now Colby Halter floats one foul.
Well, if that doesn't get the Gator dugout even more motivated to get the ball down, right? I mean, you know that was a storyline after last night's strikeout fest, but that's a fastball down around the thighs that you can do something with.
Now Halter skies this one to shallow right. Braden Jobert roams in, and the inning is over. Ty Evans 423 feet to tie game 2 in the second.
Where is that thing? Over top of the foul pole. Gators are all tied up.
For more coverage of the NCAA Men's College World Series and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. A long home run over that pole for Ty Evans has tied this thing as we go to the bottom of the second. And Hurston Waldrop back to work against 8-9-1 for LSU.
Are you offended if I call that a fair pole?
No, I like that term, actually. We'll agree to agree on that.
This is yanked by Jordan Thompson, and that is foul. Not fair. You guys agreeing early on. What is happening?
I'm nervous. Just got nervous.
Comes the 1-1 to the third-year starting shortstop, and he strikes it well to left center. Wyatt Langford for the first down. We're up to 8 one-run games here in Omaha, and that matches the most we have ever had at this event. Game 2, Gators and Tigers. To the 9 spot, Josh Pearson. Left fielder takes ball 1. What a catch Josh Pearson made in the bottom of the 10th on Wyatt Langford yesterday. Dylan Cruz said afterward he was holding his breath for a little bit. He admitted that.
There was about 20,000 in here holding their breath when that came off the bat.
2-0. That misses, and it's 3-0 from Hurston Waldrop. Waldrop deals up and away, and a 4-pitch walk to the 9-man Pearson. And the third free pass issued already by Waldrop.
So Mark Wanaka is the first base coach for LSU. He does all their defensive position. They call him Chief. And we were talking to Jay Johnson about it. He's like, you think about all the balls they've caught this week, and there have been quite a few that you're like, wow, they're getting fortunate. Well, Jay Johnson doesn't really call it fortunate. He says it's good planning and great scouting, and that includes the play last night that Josh Pearson made.
Dylan Cruz flares one behind Josh Rivera into left for his second base hit. 2 on with 1 out for LSU in the second.
Waldrop likes to get ahead with that breaking ball, and this one isn't a bad pitch. Cruz catches it off the end of the bat, but gets just enough of it. You see that beautiful extension through the ball that allows him to keep it in the air long enough to fall into left field. And here come the Tigers again, man. Just traffic constantly for this offense.
2 on after they left him loaded with the 1 run in the first. And here's Tommy White. Struck out on a splitter his first time, and gets another one to start out.
I don't think he's going to get anything but that in this at bat. If Waldrop gets ahead, I think the entire at bat is going to be splits.
Talked about how much more off speed there has been from Hurston Waldrop. And White has homered on breaking balls here, so it's another split change. Oh-2. Sales at 96.
Okay, so Brookie, when you got a guy like this that you know is going to throw you splits, I mean, the longer you stand up there, you know you're going to get him. Do you go up and look for it? I mean, because there are certain guys that you know I am going to get this, that.
I don't know that you would sit split, but you're sitting soft in general because there's quite a few sliders in there too with Waldrop. So I would definitely be sitting soft, not necessarily just on the split.
2-2, and White pulls it on a rope foul.
That was the slider there, right? So you know, it's funny we say soft, it's still 88 miles an hour, but the fastball is the off-speed pitch. That's the one that's coming the least amount. It's the one that's out of the speed range of what you're most likely going to see, which is somewhere in that 86 to 89 mile range, whether it's the split or the slider. That's what you should be hunting.
2-2 again. White rolls it foul.
And not just the speed, but then also the part of the strike zone, right? So we talk about with a guy like Floyd, you got to push the ball down. With a guy like Waldrop, it's the opposite. You're trying to get the ball somewhere around your belly button because that's the breaking ball that should stay in the zone, or the split that should stay in the zone. But if you chase stuff at the top of your knees, that's the one that bottoms out.
2-2, and White on a line into right field, a base hit. Pearson gets waved around to the plate, and LSU leads.
You don't accidentally drive in 100 runs. You know what the heck you're doing up there. Tommy White certainly does that. A hanging curveball just up around the belly button, right? We talk about you got to get off speed pitches up. You got to hunt the ball up, and that certainly was a soft breaking ball right around the belt. And Tommy White does what he does best, which is drive in runs. Now 102 on the season.
And still only one out here in the second for Trey Morgan. Takes ball one from Hurston Waldrop. In these first couple of games, the early innings, the approach, the takes, all of that from LSU, been mighty impressive. Morgan in the air, left field, and Shelnutt goes back to make the catch. Cruz tags and scores, and it's a Trey Morgan sac fly to make it 3-1 Tigers.
What a lineup, KP.
Yeah.
These guys just know how to put together a bats and execute.
I mean, you got a one-out walk to the 9-hole hitter, too. You put Pearson on, now you've created traffic, and you got Cruz, White, Trey Morgan coming right after.
And then Gavin Dugas climbs in here after an RBI double that he torched in the first, then he gets hit. BT Riopel intervened, and now Jeff Head tells Gavin Dugas to go down to first.
So Jeff Head just looked at BT Riopel and said, hey, help me out. Help me out. If you think you're going to get through 2 or 3 games with these two teams and not get a little back and forth, you don't know that league.
It can be spicy when Florida and LSU meet up. 2 on, 2 out. Here's Cade Beloso. Walked his first time. Takes ball 1. Big cut through the splitter. Cade Beloso often found with a smile.
Yeah, he just smiles a lot. That's a fun one to be around.
Plays out that, it kicks away. And Tommy White moves up. Ryan Pell's throw does not get Dugas, and now 2 in scoring position.
You got to be ready for the ball in the dirt when you're going up against Waldrop, because it's going to happen all game long. Certainly the Tiger offense was ready for that opportunity.
So now 2nd and 3rd, 2-1 to Veloso. He's blocked by Ryan Pell.
That was pretty right there. He got outside of that ball and brought it right back towards home plate. Sully's searching for answers right now because it just doesn't look like his right-hander has it today.
3-1. Outside, ball 4. They're loaded again for LSU. So what do? Do you go to a more fastball heavy approach, or do you stick with, even now 50+ pitches in, the formula that's gotten you here?
You got to figure out what you can throw for a strike, because if you continue to do this, he's now walked 4 and hit 1. It doesn't take that much offense to score runs because you're creating so much traffic on your own.
Oh, that's a fastball to start out Hayden Travinski, who walked his first time with strike 1. Big swing and a miss.
Now you bury it here, and if you're BT Ripel, got to keep this one in front.
That's down. Ryan Pell does.
Okay. Here it comes again.
Again, Waldrop 3rd in the country in strikeouts. Coming into today is 1-2. Up high. Traffic galore for LSU these first couple of innings. Hurst and Waldrop, who delivers the 2-2. Travinski on the ground and foul to 3rd.
That's where he wants to start it. That one just didn't have any bite to it, right? That one just kind of floated. Travinski actually had an opportunity there, but was just a touch early.
2-2 again, and Travinski stays alive on a heater. And look out, cameras. Johnny Lawrence back there. On the ground, foul. Just past Tommy White.
Good reminder to all the runners at third base to stay in foul territory when you get your secondary. Having a little laugh about that one. Fair territory, you're out. Foul territory, ball's just foul. See, Little League 101 right there, you learn that.
Yeah, bring it out even on the biggest stage.
Right, just gotta remind yourself of the fundamentals sometimes.
Dave Ackenhausen waits. 8th pitch to Travinski, and he spoils another.
Perfect example of the difference in the life of a fastball, right? That's 97 up, yet Travinski's able to foul it off. Last night from Floyd, we saw a ton of 95s and 96s induce so many swings and misses.
It's part of his 17 strikeouts. Another 2-2, and this is pulled to 3rd, and Halter ends the inning. So LSU leads by 2. They have left 6 against Hurst and Waldrop through 2. Game 1 went to LSU yesterday as we check out the Capital One Cup standings update as teams compete for a combined $500,000 scholarship donation from Capital One. All right, on we go to the top of the 3rd. And Cade Kurland gets hit by the first pitch from Nate Ackenhausen.
Exactly the start you're looking for if you go put 2 on the board. Ackenhausen's first one, he just spiked.
As he goes through the Florida lineup for a second time. Jay Johnson said afterward, as Wyatt Langford climbs in, that On Tuesday in that first Ackenhausen start, they were thinking 3 innings. They were thinking 60 pitches. He went out and gave him 18 outs. Langford walked his first out.
Well, we've been talking about Langford and Kaggs getting going. Like, you know, you're down. Your backs are against the wall right now. Your starter doesn't look like he's got his A+ stuff. This offense,
got to start now.
They got to get going.
0-1. Langford pulls it past Tommy White into left field, the base hit. Carlin stops at second, and right on cue, Wyatt Langford arrives here in game 2.
It's crazy, man. They can hear you down there. You did this yesterday. It's the exact same thing.
I mean, does anybody hit the ball harder than Wyatt Langford? Just another 112. Just put it on the board. Remember last year, Kemp Alderman was kind of putting on this exit velo show. Now, this year it's been Wyatt Langford. For somebody that only has 4 hits here in Omaha, he's had 110 pluses all over the board.
And second time through with Nate Ackenhausen at 44 pitches. You see the bodies spill into the Tiger pen. And now we'll get a visit from, it would appear to be, Jay Johnson. Not to be confused with his pitching coach, Wes Johnson.
Nope, nobody would do that.
Yeah, he's putting the brakes on here, and that bullpen is in full mode of all hands on deck right now, because you're at the part of the lineup where you might mix and match here, as this is the scary part of the Gator batting order.
There wasn't like 2 or 3 guys that ran down there. I think there was 10.
Right.
It's just, we'll let you know, but everybody get down there and get ready.
The way it went on Tuesday for Nate Ackenhausen was that Jay Johnson texted him that morning at, in the words of Nate, 8:56 a.m. And Nate texted back his head coach at 11:10 when he woke up. Texted him back, "I'll give it all I got." Those were an anxious few hours for Jay Johnson, who told us pregame, we have about 3 or 4 big-bodied, bearded lefties who like to sleep. Ackenhausen still out there against Jack Caglione. Grounded out sharply his first time and rolls this one into center. Carlin scores, and Langford and Caglione deliver. And Florida's within a run here in the 3rd.
Well, there you go, Gator fans. There's your dudes showing up when you need them the most. Felt like Langford missed a chance to go 1st to 3rd right there, which would have been an added bonus. But Kaggs getting them on the board here in the 3rd is a big deal. A hard hit grounder up the middle, and Langford's got, look how early he's at second base. The ball's not even close to Dylan Cruz. But I guess just playing, you know, the old adage, you don't want to make the 1st or 3rd out at 3rd. Langford plays it safe.
Now Josh Rivera goes first pitch hunting and pops it up foul. So Langford at second, Caglione at first, with still nobody out. Rivera struck out on a fastball from Ackenhausen back in the 1st. Kevin O'Sullivan has called Josh Rivera the best shortstop in the country. Swings through that. That's a good change. That's the pitch Ackenhausen felt like he really had Tuesday, like we said. And with the wind blowing in that one, he threw it a lot. Here's 0-2. Rivera lays off.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to lean on the off-speed stuff. The slider and changeup have been very effective for him this year, especially against right-handed hitters.
1-2. Rivera on the ground into left field, a base hit. Langford waved around. Pearson's throw is cut, and this game is tied at 3.
Just kind of felt like it was coming. I mean, he didn't know when and exactly what it was going to look like, but this Florida offense is going to wake up at some point. Rivera has been fine through all this, but he gets one he can handle. I mean, it's a fair amount of ground balls in this inning. Kaggs a ground ball, Rivera's a ground ball right there. First pitch of the inning hit Cade Curlin, and 3 straight singles for the Gators to tie it up.
And still nobody out as Jay Johnson ponders and BT Riopel bats. Fouls off the first one.
Well, all of our other classics have been kind of low-scoring nail-biters. Maybe we got ourselves a slugfest classic here this afternoon. Gator offense responded right on time.
Gavin Guidry, the freshman who's been nails in the second half of the season, is up.
Oh.
That's up high. BT Riotbell is headed to a career in finance. Not going to pursue professional baseball. This is his 5th year collegiately. 2 of them with the Gators. He's at total peace, he has told us, with that decision. That misses. And he's going to start on July 31st. And he's got all his team at his soon-to-be new job watching.
There could be a bidding war, the men's league in Tampa, because this is your #1 overall pick standing at the plate right now.
He's your guy.
Two to him.
Yes.
And Riotbell couldn't resist. 2-2.
The real question is, are some of his teammates going to be his first clients? I think that would be maybe what's next.
Seems like a smart move.
Yeah.
With some of the star power.
Big leaguers on this roster.
Ackenhausen readies. With a 2-2. Riotbell strikes out. 1 away.
Just looking for something that wasn't that. Looking for either the changeup or the slider. The fastball just stood BT Riotbell straight up.
I think that's where being a catcher, sometimes you overthink things, right? You struck out on a breaking ball looking your first time up, and right there Riotbell was certain he was getting another breaking ball, and boy, he watched a gutter ball right there.
So he's punched out twice, and now here's Luke Heyman. Struck out on an elevated fastball his first time in the second. The freshman takes strike 1. Oh, 1. That's up high. So we asked Jay Johnson, by the way, well, when did you text or tell Nate Ackenhausen this time? And he said, actually, right when he took Ackenhausen out of the game on Tuesday, he said with confidence, you're starting on Sunday. Still had to win that and 2 more elimination games at that point when he told the big lefty. Heyman on the ground towards short. Thompson bobbles, and they're loaded for Florida.
Well, this is one of those, watch it, it's a one-hand catch, right? So now you flick the transfer. Instead of putting that right hand down there with the catch, for whatever reason, Jordan Thompson on a double play ball only fields that ball with one hand. So then the transfer turns into kind of a flick from the glove to the hand, and he loses it on that transfer. That's why you always want to put your throwing hand on top of the glove in a double play situation so that the release and transfer can happen instantaneously.
So now a conversation before Tyler Shellnut bats for the second time after he struck out on a breaking ball his first time back in the second. It's a guy who, unlike Luke Heyman, grew up a huge Gators fan from Lake City, Florida, 50 minutes northwest of Gainesville. Remembers exactly where he was, he told us, when Florida won the national championship in 2017. And here comes Jay Johnson with 1 out and the bases loaded in the 3rd.
Tell you what, that's a huge miss. You're jogging off the field right there. Heyman doesn't run real well. I think Dugas is going to finish that double play. Instead, you got the bases loaded, 1 out. Big moment here for the freshman running in.
Forced to make a move to the rookie, Gavin Guidry. Onto the bump in Game 2 in the finals of the College World Series after this.
Oh, that'll do it for Nate Ackenhausen today. It was so good in his first start here in Omaha's first start of the year. 6 innings, did not give up a run. Today, the control of the arm side was actually pretty good early. But then it was creating more traffic into that arm side. Jumped on a little bit late. Single to left by Langford, another one from Rivera. Struck out Riopelle looking, and then an error on what could have been a double play ball will end up ending the day a little bit earlier than the boys in gold were hoping for.
And he will give way to the freshman from Lake Charles, Louisiana, Gavin Guidry, who arrived as a two-way player and has stepped up to be a massive part of this bullpen.
That's kind of a short arm. It's, I mean, which is what it is. It looks like a shortstop that's on the mound from an arm pass standpoint, but it's mid-90s, and the breaking ball's really good. That's where Guidry excels, is when he gets into those counts.
And it's heavy usage. If you're Florida right now, you're sitting up there looking for a breaking ball. We saw Hunter Ensley from Tennessee hit a first pitch breaking ball out against Guidry in game 1 of the LSU Tennessee series here in Omaha. And so, you know, Florida's got a similar game plan. It's 67% breaking balls.
Gavin was telling us the other day how well his slider plays because of the fastball characteristics, and so he feels like that breaking ball is so good off of his fastball, and that's why he has leaned so heavily on it here at his freshman season. Shelnut with the bases loaded and one out in the third. Breaking ball to start out, and Shelnut was swinging. Jack Caglione had a run-scoring single. So did Josh Rivera, who followed him in the cleanup spot. And then Luke came and got aboard as well to load him up. That's a strike, and it's 0-2. Oh, 2. Cut on and missed. 2 down.
What he does. He's going to throw that one. Shelnut expanded the zone on the first. Guidry landed it to get to 0-2 and then expand the zone right there. You're going to get a ton of them. Just whether or not he has the ability to throw it for called strikes, and whether this Florida lineup has the ability to lay off those in arm.
Well, it brings up Ty Evans, the home run hitter, back in the second. Breaking ball to start, and Evans skies this one down the line and left toward the corner. Pearson back at the wall. That ball is gone! It's a grand slam for Evans! Twice to the pole!
Kidding me. That ball was hit to the clouds. And we knew at some point the wind was going to be a factor today, but that's the first one where it has really shown up. 51-degree launch, a first pitch breaking ball hit to the sky. 51 degrees, are you kidding me, KP?
Still 109 off the bat, and backspin and wind carries this one out off the bat. He thought maybe it was going to go foul, but it wasn't going to leave. Instead, it's a grand slam for Ty Evans. And the Gators strike back with 5 here in the third.
He's now homered twice in the last 2 innings. And it's a 4-run Florida lead in game 2 after dropping game 1 to LSU last night.
Wow. And how big's that double play ball now?
1-0 to Colby Halter, a wave and a miss on a fastball.
I don't know that I've ever heard of a 51-degree home run.
I certainly have not.
We'll get on that. There's probably been one, but that's about as high as you'll ever hear.
Halter rolls it. Trey Morgan to end the inning. Kevin O'Sullivan told us that he had a feeling. He told one of his associate athletic directors before this, Ty Evans is going to play a role in this thing in Omaha. And boy, has he.
Somebody gotta shake things up. Somebody gotta shut things down.
Welcome back to the NCAA Men's College World Series presented by Capital One. Ty Evans now the second player in Florida history with a grand slam at the Men's College World Series, joining Brad Wilkerson, who had a granny in 1996. Feels a little different now for Hurston Waldrop. Back to work in the bottom of the third against the bottom third in the LSU lineup, starting with Braden Jobert. Grounded to second his first time. 2-0 from Waldrop.
What I've found is that the lowest homer launched, 13.5 by Giancarlo Stanton, and the highest that I've found is 49.7 by J.D. Martinez. That one was 51.
An average, you know this stuff really well.
28 to 32 is the average.
That's a strike. So basically a 60-degree wedge.
Yes.
Hit 400 feet, give or take.
Unreal.
Gobert takes, and it's a leadoff walk to begin this bottom of the third for LSU.
Sully can't be happy about that. Jay Johnson was certainly not happy when Ackenhausen hit Kerwin to start the last inning. And thought maybe the 5 spot would, or excuse me, the 6 spot would settle Waldrop down. Not the case.
So brings up Jordan Thompson.
Oh.
Boy, you think back to that play as well for Jordan Thompson at short. And you mentioned the one hand versus two hands fielding.
Yeah, not every error costs your team a run, but that one will sting.
He squares and pulls back and takes a strike. Thompson's story has been well told. He had 33 errors his first 2 years combined, but by and large this year has been much better now as a junior defensively. 2-1. Part of the defensive issues last year were knee surgery for Thompson 3 weeks before the start of last year. Pulls this one foul, 2-2.
For the Gators this inning, I mean, it's been almost all fastballs. They're trying to find something that Waldrop can throw for a strike and come back and give him the ability to throw the split. Still significantly more balls than strikes thus far.
Breaking ball strikes out Thompson for out number 1 in the third.
That was one of his better sliders today. That's one he really got on top of and had a little bit more depth. A few of them have kind of hung in the zone. That one, really, when he needed one right there, was not as good as he's thrown today.
Paul Skeens leads the country in strikeouts, of course. And then Stanford star Quinn Matthews now 2 ahead of Hurston Waldrop. Pumps in strike 1 to the 9-man Josh Pearson, who worked that 1-out walk his first time in the second. Splitter away. Waldrop admitted after his last start last Sunday here against Oral Roberts, it took him some time to settle in. He said on a big stage, obviously a lot of adrenaline and the emotions that come with this place. Now he's got a 4-run lead here. 2-1 up high.
One of the things he's learned from Brandon Sproat is what we talked about yesterday. He will also talk to himself. And inside that white hat, it says, "The will to win, I won't be stopped." There's also a superstition there. Will only pitch wearing the white hat.
Pearson pulls this one foul.
White hat guy, huh?
Sharp.
Okay.
You approve?
Well, whatever the starting pitcher wants, right? He's the one with the ball in his hand, so we need him to feel comfortable. Whatever you want, KP. We're behind you.
I appreciate it.
Kyle did text us today and say, "Grays?" Question mark.
Yes, that's right. We let him call it.
It wasn't really calling it. It was suggesting. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for saying this guy. This is like my white hat.
That's right.
It's the exact same thing.
If you want gray, we'll wear gray. We need you to throw strikes and pitch us into the 7th. Is that all right?
That's fair.
Okay.
That's a good trade.
3-2. Pearson pulls another one foul. Only one of us, though, spent a very long time with an iron and a steamer today. Struggling. Struggling.
I remember my first time with it. Hang in there, Mike.
Wear it, kid. Hang with it. KP Berkey and Monaco upstairs. Chris Budden down at field level. 3-2 again. Misses. second walk of the inning, and Hurston Waldrop did not like it.
Jeff Head is making them throw it over the white part of the plate today. That one was actually over the plate. I guess he called it down. Josh Pearson 1 for 20 in the Men's College World Series, and Hurston Waldrop has walked him twice, and I guess Jeff Head is pointing that that was down. Man, he's had a tight one here today.
And so back to the top for the Golden Spikes Award winner, Dylan Cruz, who has singled twice. Takes strike one. Berkey, you asked Dylan Cruz before this started about if this is the cherry on top of his career, checking the box of Omaha. He said it's the whipped cream. Cherry on top would be winning the whole thing.
Well, we didn't even ask him about the Golden Spikes. Just throw that one in there.
Yeah.
Man, what a career. He has checked every box but winning the whole thing. You're certainly positioned to do that.
Waldrop so too.
You know, what I would say about Dylan Cruz too, that I just think can't be said enough, is how he's handled himself through it all. He is He is a humble man, and it's pretty cool that he gets the limelight.
He gets hit here. And so 2 walks and a hit batter from Hurston Waldrop have loaded the bases for LSU here in the third.
This is 8 free base runners in the first 3 innings.
See, would they challenge that? Ooh, they should challenge that. Doesn't look like they're going to.
So the letter of the law is this: if you are judged to intentionally make a movement to be hit by a pitch, it's a strike.
Yeah, that's a huge switch in this game.
Did the ball hit you, or did you hit the ball in any way?
And Sully doesn't look like he's going to review it. That is a missed opportunity.
Let's see if BT says anything to him when he walks out there. And I still don't think that they're going to, but at that point, they're definitely not going to now. Well, we didn't know it would be this offensive, but you felt like for Florida to have a real chance, he had to get him into the 6th or 7th. He won't. They'll go to the bullpen right now, but they lead it by 4.
Somebody gotta go all night. Somebody gotta dig down deep. Mean what they say what they mean. Yeah, the way I see, might as well be me.
Tommy White's had some memorable swings for LSU here in Omaha, and he's got 3 of LSU's 7 grand slams this season. Hurston Waldrop exits with the bases loaded here in the 3rd inning.
That's a rough one. 6 walks, he hit 2. He left the bases loaded in each of the first 2 innings. LSU's had him loaded at least once. So they'll go to Blake Purnell, who hasn't pitched in a month since the SEC tournament. It's a low slot 2-seamer, a guy that can roll you a lot of ground balls when he's right. But maybe he hadn't quite had the year that he did last year. Last year he was closing for a period of time. This year coming in at a massive spot for Florida.
Kevin O'Sullivan said last night, we're going to need some other guys to step up on the mound. And I feel confident they will, but it's guys who haven't even stepped onto this surface yet. And earlier than expected for the Gators here in Game 2. Needing to win, trying to force a decisive Game 3 tomorrow. Tommy White struck out his first time and then had an RBI single in the 2nd. First pitch inside, ball 1 from that low slot. It's 102 RBIs now for Tommy White. The 1-0. White on the ground towards short. Rivera flips. Curlin turns, and it's 2. Inning over.
Well, it doesn't get any bigger than that, boys. What a play by the Gator defense. Just when it was getting shaky, Blake Purnell comes in and gets them off the field. Gators still up 4.
What does it mean when people say America is a land of opportunity?
It means the power to discover,
to redefine yourself,
to improve yourself,
to challenge yourself,
to realize there's more in you
than you ever knew
that you could do.
It means giving people an open field to explore what they do best.
With the best tools,
the best training,
the best technology in the world.
We bring out the best in the people who serve.
So you can be all you can be.
Narrow is no good. That's why I wear new wide-fit, hands-free Skechers slip-ins. You just step in and go with no bending down. They even go on easy sitting because wider is better. Even I could have made that. Try new wide-fit Skechers slip-ins.
Check it out. Imagine how much Mountain Dew's in there.
We should probably drink these fast.
Welcome back to Omaha. Joined with LSU head coach Jay Johnson. With Ackenhausen done early and knowing what you have today and a possibility of tomorrow, how do you manage your arms?
Just one pitch at a time. I mean, they're in a bind, too, with us getting Waldrop out of the game. We just need to cash in a couple more of those opportunities. So we're going to try to keep it close, so they have to keep going to guys.
What was the message to your guys on the bus ride over this morning, knowing what you could be celebrating today, but also knowing you have to get a job done?
Yeah, task at hand. You can't go there. If you go there, it takes you out of your plan. And when we stay in plan, we're a pretty good baseball team, so we're trying to do that the best we can.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
In search, Chris, of the program's 7th national title. Only USC has more with a dozen. Tigers' last one was in 2009, and they're on the doorstep after back-to-back wins in 11 innings apiece. To the 4th. It's been eventful so far. Third time through the Florida lineup, starting with Cade Kurland, who gets ball 1 from Gavin Guidry.
You know, we're not used to saying this here, but this could end up being like a Rosenblatt score. Just the way, the way it feels here early.
1-0 pitch. Well, how about this? It's 7 runs on the board for Florida. They're the first team in this year's College World Series to get 7 in a game.
We're just getting revved up.
Oh. Outside 2-1 on Kurland.
I don't think this one's going to end 7-3.
Guidry deals. Bounces it in. 3-1.
Well, I think the wind blowing out changes the entire psyche of the pitching staff, right? Because they know the mistakes could cost them more as opposed to the way they normally feel standing on the mound here and just feeling fearless to challenge in the strike zone.
And it's a leadoff walk. Cade Kurland is on for the 3rd time. Hey, the first round of this year's NHL draft is Wednesday at 7 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN+. The Blackhawks won the lottery. They've got the rights to Connor Bedard. Wednesday, 7 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN+. And we have heard so many different pitchers talk about the wind blowing in and how that's empowered them out there. Here's Wyatt Langford. Rolls this one foul outside of 3rd.
Yeah, Ackenhausen was talking about it. Where the other day he said, I got behind it, just throw a 2-0 changeup and let him try to hit it as far as you possibly can. That doesn't work today.
He even went so far to talk about exit velocities. He said, guys, we're hitting it 108 off the bat, which is tagged. And I knew it would be an out. Langford has walked and singled so far. 0-1 from Guidry. Off the end of the bat, squibbed into the shift. Dugas a long way to go. He doesn't get Langford, who can burn.
Yeah, we've talked about it plenty this year, but now the whole country's getting to see it. Speed, to me, is the thing that's not talked about with Langford. And it's what may give him a chance to stick at center field when it gets into pro ball. I mean, this is a squibber and a weird one, and you're playing him more shaded up the middle anyway, all the way out in front, and then spinning all over the place. Dugas gets there, but he puts his head down and goes, Berkey. He can pick him up and move him.
Yeah, I mean, he's safe easily at first base. Boy, the Gators, here comes Jay Johnson. Yeah, the Gators are not done. We're used to seeing 110 plus from Wyatt Langford. That one was 59. Not the hardest single of his career. going to get into some interesting places in the bullpen today, I think.
It's Bryce Collins, the right-hander, up and through him.
Real quick on the Ty Evans home run.
Please.
The StatCast article I pulled up during break said that the batting average on balls 50 degrees or higher was .014.
So that's 1 out of 100. 1 out of 100 that historically that's a hit. Forget home run.
We put the fine folks of ESPN stats and info on it, as well as Ty sizes up ball flight still in the dugout. And there has not been an over-the-fence home run hit that high since we've had StatCast, going back to 2015.
Ever. And I don't think anybody would have predicted Charles Schwab Stadium to be the first.
It's not Bluto, 0.0, but
it's close.
0.14. Jack Caglione against Gavin Guidry.
Ball
1 to start out. Sharp ground out, run scoring single to center for Caglione. He talked with Chris Budden before the game about the conditions and just trying to do less, maybe not swinging as hard and just letting his natural strength do the work. Two-0 to short. That's Gavin Dugas to Thompson, who will hold it and then throws it away. Curling scores, and it's a 5-run lead. Oh, the second big blunder from Jordan Thompson gives the Gators a run.
Boy, and it looked like because he put it in his pocket and didn't turn the double play, he's trying to catch Herland off at third base, and then right when he goes to throw it, he second guesses himself. Yeah. Almost looked like he was trying to read, and then it just, like he wanted to change his mind, and he ends up just letting it go, and that one is a decision he'd like to have back.
And now the umpires come together here after Jay Johnson came out.
LSU is challenging the slide at second base. The previous play is under review.
So this is interesting. Over at second on a Wyatt Langford slide into the turn for Thompson.
Is he sliding into the base?
He is for me. Yeah. I mean, you can go to the inside part of the base, which he was right there. He was.
Yeah, his left foot goes right into the middle of the base. Yeah. Or his right foot, excuse me. His frame of his body got outside the base, but his right foot's right into the middle of the bag.
It's the force play slide rule. The runner cannot slide or run out of the baseline in the direction of the fielder. A raised leg cannot make contact higher than the fielder's knee when the fielder is in a standing position, and slide toward or contact the infielder even if the infielder doesn't make an attempt to throw to complete a play, like in this case.
I think the only thing about this would be, when you were reading the rule, the raised leg component of the slide as to whether or not it's making contact above the knees.
The call on the field of no force play slide rule interference is confirmed. The runner at second base is out. Everybody else advances.
All right. Nicely done by Jeff Head and the crew. Jay Johnson with a challenge that comes up empty. You get two of them, you keep them if you're successful. That was the first one from LSU here, 4 innings in. So it's 8-3 now. Florida in front, top of the fourth. And Josh Rivera with Jack Caglione aboard at first against Gavin Guidry. Big lead, and Caglione goes. Travinski's throw. Got it. Surprise you guys he's running?
It was
Look how
a
big
massive
his
lead. Massive lead.
Was he out? Ooh, I don't know.
That is close. And looks like indeed they did get him. And now Kevin O'Sullivan chatting with his star Jack Caglione.
Nice job by Trubinsky. I mean, that kind of lead, you would expect him to have been safe, and Dugas did a nice job of finishing it off on the back end.
Caglione, who was 4 for 5 stealing bags this year. And now 1-2 on Josh Rivera with now 2 outs and the bases empty. Guidry fires and that's it. Strikes out Rivera. Another run for Florida off the LSU error in the 4th. All right, game 2. How did LSU get to this point? Well, they've got the best pitcher in the country in Paul Skeens. He has dazzled. 3 straight elimination game wins, including a couple against Wake Forest, and a bullpen headlined by Riley Cooper that stepped up with LSU trying to win another national championship. Riley Cooper's been really good.
Phenomenal.
You said, Berkey, last night, maybe as valuable as anyone for the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you were picking MVPs, I think for the Gators it'd be Ty Evans.
Got a win and 3 saves.
Yeah, and for the Tigers, he would certainly be in the mix. Skeens and Peloso. I mean, there's...
Ty Floyd's got, just 27 strikeouts in 2 starts here.
Not bad.
A lot of pieces for LSU. Down by 5 against Florida here in game 2 in this best of 3. Blake Purnell misses, and it's 2-0 to start out. Trey Morgan in the 3 spot for the Tigers in the 4th. Again, Purnell, as KP told you, working for the first time since late May against Vanderbilt. And really working for just the 2nd time in the last 7 weeks. Because when he pitched in the SEC tournament in Hoover, Alabama, it's his first time out there in 3 weeks. And misses 3-1. That's Ryan Slater, trusted arm on this staff, one of the most used options for Florida and Kevin O'Sullivan. 3-1, misses, and another leadoff walk.
That's been the issue with Purnell this year. Coming into this ball game, 13 walks and 18 and a third. 18 hits as well. So he's had a ton of traffic in his appearances this year. Last year, he was so reliable for him. But one thing he can do is what he did to get out of last inning, which is roll some double play balls.
Now it's Gavin Dugas to face Purnell. RBI double, and Dugas hit by another pitch. BT Ripel trying to settle Blake Purnell in. Kevin O'Sullivan has talked about Purnell, and when the velocity is more 86 to 88 than 90 to 91, it's better. Sinks more, and they want him to live there. That's at 90 for a called strike.
That one right there is the one that gets it. It just kind of stays there at 90. It's many sinker ballers are that way, to where when you're not trying to throw as hard, it really allows that hand to finish over the top of the baseball and give it that down movement.
On the ground to short. Herlin's turn to again. That was 88. Got the sink, got the ground ball.
Or a couple big double plays by this Gator middle infield, and Rivera's had a couple tricky hops, doing a nice job of just finishing the catch before you think about the transfer, and the second baseman Curlin with a couple clean turns. That erases that leadoff walk.
So Morgan retired on the twin killing, and now Cade Beloso takes strike 1. We had the footage earlier of Cade's father, who had the grill working with a Gator on it. Pretty big one, too, taking up the whole grill out in Lot D. Pre-game outside the Chuck here today ahead of game 2.
I said it was a 25-pound gator.
It wasn't small.
You know where you don't find those? In the Missouri River. You can't just run up to Hy-Vee right here and go buy a 25-pound gator.
One to Cade. Misses. So Hot Rod, as he's known, showing off to our camera crew earlier today, and some Bayou dust sprinkled on.
May have to run down some of that Bayou dust.
So, do we think he traveled with the, like, where did he acquire this gator? Like, is that at the?
I think you got to travel with it, right?
I think Chris knows.
I talked to Kate about it when I came into the dugout to start the game, and he looked at me. He's like, "Did you see my dad? Did you run into him? Did you get some gator?" And he goes, "My dad right now is in his prime, living his best life out here."
And Cade walks for the 3rd time in 4 innings. Second walk of the inning and a 2-out base runner.
Maybe that one was on ice.
I think it had to be. KP already told you about the layout here in all bodies of water.
Can't find that at the local market.
No. If so, I haven't been in that aisle yet.
So man aboard, and we'll get a conference for Hayden Travinski, catcher in the 6th spot, with his head coach.
Get the barrel below the ball. This is the opposite of the typhoid approach, right? The ball's sinking. He's trying to get you to hit the top of it. Try to get the barrel below the ball and see if you can't get the ball in the air. Whereas with the high spin, top of the zone guys, you're trying to get the barrel. You're trying to feel like your barrel's above the ball and staying as flat as possible. The nuances of facing different types of arms and pitches.
Travinski has walked and grounded out to 3rd against the sinker baller Blake Purnell. So how do you do that as a hitter? Like, practically speaking, is it changing where you start your swing, or the entire swing path changes too?
Well, yeah, you know, you're definitely going to work a little bit lower to higher, and just think about trying to get to the bottom of the ball.
Hey, corner.
Easier said than done, I think, but these are the things that sometimes you train for, right? Hey, we're facing a sinker ball, or we're facing a high spin guy. Like the different types of opportunities that appear in games, you gotta have different types of moves, right? If you're trying to use the backside of the field, if you're trying to get the head out, these are all the little things that guys spend their careers trying to refine.
Right.
Well, Purnell's got a 1-ball, 2-strike count with 2 outs here in the 4th. Inside. Two. On the ground to short, and Rivera flips to Curlin. Kevin O'Sullivan visits with Chris Button when we come back to Omaha, Nebraska.
Welcome back to the NCAA Men's College World Series presented by Capital One. Joined with Kevin O'Sullivan. I got 2 words for you, Ty Evans. You told our guys earlier this week that you kind of feel like he was going to make a presence here. What did you see out of him that led you to believe that?
I just felt like his BP was just getting better and better, and he was staying in the middle of the field, and you know, our coaches worked awfully hard. He's a really hard worker, and just kind of felt like with his makeup and the way his swing was starting to come around, felt like he had a chance to do something special out here.
You go with Blake Purnell. He gets you out of that big inning, and another one. Hasn't pitched in a couple weeks. What did you like about him in that moment?
Well, he did exactly what he needed to do. He got a ground ball with Tommy up, and you know, he just got to sink the ball, throw it across plate. We got a decision to make moving forward, because I know we go left, right, left coming up, so we might go to the pen.
Thank you, Sully.
Thank you.
All right, so all the pitching permutations now for both these teams have really come to the forefront here in game 2.
Yeah, when you draw it up ahead of time, this isn't the way that either one of them draw it up. for Florida, you're saying, all right, we need length out of Waldrop. He's got to get us into the 6th or the 7th to save this bullpen. And I don't know if Jay Johnson thought that Bryce Collins would be the game in the 5th inning today either. For Collins over the course of the year, it's an ERA in the mid-7s. He's curveball heavy. You can see he's walked a guy in inning this year. Throws more curveballs than fastballs. Fastball has good velo. I mean, he could show you some 94s and 5s, but when he has success, it's usually because the curveball's good.
2-to-1 curveball to fastball. So similar to Guidry, that from an approach standpoint, if you're in that Florida lineup, you're hunting a breaking ball.
He's coming in to pitch here in Game 2 of the Men's College World Series Finals and pitching for the first time since May 14th for LSU. Who trails Florida by 5 as we start the 5th. 5, 6, and 7, beginning with BT Riopel, who sees 94 for ball 1. LSU led 3-1 into the 3rd when Florida hung 6 on the Tigers. Riopel lines it into center field, the base hit to lead things off. Not a home run.
That's a single.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, not an extra base hit. His first one of the NCAA tournament. BT Riopel and this Gator offense keeps it rolling. That's pretty wild.
Opposing pitchers in the postseason have even said it about BT Riopel, that it seems like every one of his hits goes over the fence. Teammates have laughed about it. So, of course, he's got a leadoff knock of the base hit variety in the 5th in front of Luke Heyman, who takes strike 1. Heyman reached on that fielder's choice and error by Thompson back in the 3rd. High and tight, 1-1.
This is where you sit breaking ball. First pitch breaking ball for a strike. Fastball at your nose. Probably getting a hook right here.
1-1. Collins obliges on a line right at Dylan Cruz for out number 1.
Hard game. Luke Heyman did everything right there. There's just that guy named Cruz standing out there. Bad aim.
I'll work on your towards.
Like Berkey on the putting green.
Yeah.
And more good positioning from Mark Wanaka and the LSU staff. Now Tyler Shelnut takes ball 1 off the edge from Bryce Collins. Shelnut finally a Florida Gator after a couple of years of junior college. Pops up a bunt toward 3rd and foul. A nice day on this Sunday afternoon here at Charles Schwab Field. A little bit cooler than it had been for most of this, and the wind blowing more briskly. On the ground, foul again.
Temperatures have brought a different wind direction, which has led to a little more offense today.
What is that wind direction? What do we got today?
East?
Pretty good, yeah. Out of the northeast.
Shelnut sprint.
That's Iowa.
Foul.
That's Iowa right there. It was east of the state of Nebraska. Yeah. So if you ever kind of need a cheat code.
Yeah, I got there. Okay. I got there.
You can go on that bridge to Iowa. One, two. Shelnut on a line right center, and Cruz with a great jump. That guy's still out there. 2 gone.
There's that guy again. Boy, he just like minimizes the gaps. It feels like there's big gaps here, except 3 looks like he's all over the place. You almost take him for granted because it feels like he doesn't leave his feet a ton, right? But yet, ball didn't get on the ground too much out there.
So Cruz puts it away, and now here is the 2-word sensation that Budden talked about with Kevin O'Sullivan, Ty Evans. 4 home runs for Evans, including 2, including that grand slam in this game. And there was a time early in the season when he was pleading with Kevin O'Sullivan to stick with him. Kevin O'Sullivan told us early this season, Ty Evans our best option to win the last game of the year. And at one point, Ty texted his head coach at 8:30 in the morning and said, Coach, I got to talk to you. Don't give up on me. I know I've been struggling over the course of the last few weeks. And now he's doing this kind of stuff.
Let's check out the launch here. This one was a little more normal, 32 degrees, a bomb at 424 feet. This one is as abnormal as they get, folks. 51-degree launch. Got that tailwind. Hackenhausen can't believe it. 2-homer day for Ty Evans. Pretty special.
Strikes out here in the top of the 5th. Halfway through, Florida by 5.
All over Omaha. Some of those relics have even made it downtown. You know, so that old Johnny can keep an eye on things over here at the new ballpark.
Ah, the great sounds of Ryan McGee, a great soundtrack to a big part of our coverage here in Omaha. And you got old, and we're over here at the new.
Did you take the boys there?
I did, yeah. Brings back the warm and fuzzies. Rosenblatt was a neat place.
Well, now here in the bottom of the 5th of Game 2 at the Chuck, Nick Ficarota, fourth-year sophomore, takes over. And like Blake Purnell, he hasn't pitched a whole lot recently. First outing since 3 weeks ago in the regionals against UConn. Before that, an outing in the SEC tournament for just an inning and a third. So throwing for only the 3rd time in the last 7 weeks, and he gets 7, 8, and 9, and starts out with strike 1 to Braden Jobert. Ground out and a walk for Jobert so far. 1-1.
And you heard Sully reference the fact that they had 3 lefties coming up, and so he goes to Ficarota because he likes the changeup versus the left-handers here from LSU. There's back-to-back changeups that miss, but that's the thought process here.
2-1 is a strike with a fastball. Yeah, the pitching management on both sides gets really interesting now. Bottom of the 5th, 5-run game, and Florida leading. This is lined towards center. Wyatt Langford runs it down.
Nice jump there by Wyatt Langford to put away a ball that was smoked in the gap. Both our star center fielders making some range plays.
You think the speed will give Langford a shot to stick out there in center?
He has the physical tools to play the position. He needs the reps, right? That doesn't mean he'll ever be maybe quite to Cruz's level defensively, but he could be. Nobody ever thought he'd be able to be. I mean, he came as a catcher, right? Nobody thought he'd be a real left fielder, and he did that fantastically. I wouldn't put it past him. And the offense is going to be so loud that I think even if he's not world class, if he does well enough, boy, what a valuable weapon out there in center to have that kind of power.
Ball and a strike on Jordan Thompson. That's outside. Kylie McDaniel has a new mock draft that's going up on ESPN.com first thing tomorrow morning. Wyatt Langford right now going 3rd overall. We can give you a little teaser of that. So that leaves Skeens and Cruz. He's got Paul Skeens 1st overall, Dylan Cruz 2nd, and then Wyatt Langford 3rd.
Can't give the whole thing.
That's with Kylie's permission.
So Kylie moves Skeens up
to number 1.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And that's nothing that Cruz or Langford did wrong. It's just Paul Skeens has been that great.
He's done a whole lot right.
Looking forward to reading that from Kylie. Always drops some great knowledge on his mock drafts.
Thompson runs into this one to left center with Langford back. Make the catch on the track. 2 down.
The Tigers looking to get Jordan Thompson going, and that wind is helping, but The ballpark's still big. Thompson didn't quite get enough of that one.
Now stuck in a 1 for 29 here in Omaha. So 2 gone, and the 9 spot for Josh Pearson, who's walked each of his first 2 times. Figueroa's first misses for ball 1. That's a strike with a fastball. Pearson flicks it foul, 1-2.
So when do we start having the discussion of will you see Paul Skeens at all tomorrow if we get to game 3?
Sounds like we're having it now.
With 2 strikes and 2 outs. Off the glove of Jack Caglione. Pearson singles with 2 outs, and the conversation can continue. All right, so obviously long way to go, right? Bottom of the 5th, 2 outs. Going to be an offensive day with both these teams, the way the park is playing. But if there is a game 3 tomorrow, what does happen? Jay Johnson, the only thing he said to us on the topic pregame today was that Paul Skeens is unavailable today.
Yes. To be fair, we did not ask the question about tomorrow either. We're going to do that today.
So when Paul Skeens walked off the bus today, we asked him, and he said, not today, maybe tomorrow. We also asked him what would be your sales pitch to Jay Johnson to let him know you wanted in the ball game, because I would look him in the eye and say, I feel good.
Short and sweet. Dylan Cruz fouls it off. Ball at a strike. He's reached base all 3 times.
If he said, I feel good, would you give him the ball?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a discussion that is not just him and Paul. I think that there's others that are probably involved in that discussion.
Again, we are talking about the best pitcher in the country, surefire talent, Golden Spikes Award finalist, and projected #1 overall pick. And Kylie's mock coming out tomorrow. Kevin O'Sullivan will visit Nick Figueroa here with 2-1 the count, and 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th.
But if you do see him tomorrow, I'd be surprised if it's in a starter. I think you figure out the number of pitches that you're comfortable with using in that spot, and you pick the biggest, highest leverage spot in the entire game, and that's where you do. And if you're not going to use them, I don't know if we talked about this on air or not yesterday, I would still trot him down to the bullpen in the 5th or 6th, because this place would go crazy. You know, are there different things that you're doing on the Florida side because you think potentially you're going to see Skeens? So regardless, I would have him go down there at some point.
Tomorrow would be 3 days rest.
Yep.
Coming off 120 pitches. Cruz fouls that one off, 2-2. Pearson aboard at first with 2 outs in the last of the 5th. Figueroa's 2-2 inside. For the sake of the discussion, you would expect Florida to counter with Jack Caglione.
Yeah, I think that one's a lock.
Up to 99 on the mound this year as their #3 starter. Cruz chops it. Halter charges. Cruz can fly, and Halter got it there in time. Nicely done by Colby Halter. Still a long way to go in this one. We go to the 6th. It's Florida up on LSU by 5. 2017 for Florida, and an all SEC showdown in the finals this year for a conference synonymous with this event. Florida's in the finals for the 4th time in program history, also in 2011 and in 2005. Trying to win game 2 and force a game 3. 9-1-2 here in the 6th, starting with Colby Halter. Bryce Collins came on in the 5th, and Halter tags this one to right center field, back toward the wall, and it one hops off the wall. Colby Halter with a leadoff double to begin the 6th.
I mean, there are certain spots that even he can't get to. Cruz was shading him a little bit the opposite way right there, too. And Halter really got through this. That stayed true all the way out towards center field. When you see that number 3 real quick, that's not a comfortable feeling on the mound. 9-hole hitter right there with the leadoff double. And the Gators back in business here in the 6th.
Halter's had some fine moments here in the NCAA tournament and in particular in Omaha. Cade Curlin gets hit by a pitch. He's made a habit of that. Second time in this game, and now the 4th time he's been aboard in all his trips, and the first 2 are on for Florida in the 6th.
This Florida offense just in position to pour it on here this afternoon. Curlin getting on base 4 times is definitely the formula that the Gators are looking for.
And now Jay Johnson, the LSU head coach, comes out to chat, at least at first, with home plate umpire Jeff Head. On his way out to the mound. We came in talking about it, the top of the lineup for Florida had to step up in this finals. And here in game 2 with the Gators backs against the wall, and they've stepped up.
Yeah, they definitely have. And to a certain degree, it's just a matter of time, right? Like, I mean, it's just too much talent with those first 3 guys that they weren't going to get it going. But I think it helps. The conditions are a little more offensive. And then, you know, all great players need is just a little sign of good fortune, right? Just something to make them flip the script on what's been going sideways for them, like a great shooter seeing the first one go in. And this Gator offense looks pretty scary right now.
Saw Blake Money out in the bullpen for LSU. It's a walk, a single to the pull side, and then an infield single for Wyatt Langford. His last time in the 4th.
Right.
Halter and Curlin aboard. First pitch. Mighty swing from Wyatt Langford. You've called him a blue-collar superstar. Kevin O'Sullivan said to us, I've never had a player this good fly under the radar quite like he has. And he tags it. Left field and launched by Wyatt Langford. Destroyed.
The ball he hit last night would have ended up in the same place if that any backspin.
Yeah.
This is about as good as you can do it.
A hanging slider, and he now has the 2 farthest balls in the history of Charles Schwab Field. Just a bomb fest that Wyatt Langford is putting on here at the College World Series, and just another 114 off the bat.
He is an exit velocity factory himself.
449, 456 and 449 so far for his 2 homers.
Again, we hadn't had a team put up 7 runs in a game here. Florida's got 11 on the board in the 6th with nobody out. Jack Caglione had an RBI single in the 3rd. Just feels like Wyatt Langford is always in a position in the box to do damage. Just the look of it.
Yes, it's so solid, stable, and simple.
Caglione the opposite way, and that is back toward the wall and gone. Back to back for the Gators. Number 32 for Jack Caglione.
Breaking a lot of droughts here today, KP. Capo launch piece for Jack Tawney. And how about the inning for the Gators? Double, hit by pitch, homer. And that'll bring some smiles to that Gator bench.
Kirtland, Langford, Caglione, who we had talked about coming in. 12 combined plate appearances today. They've reached base 11 times.
That is something.
That's flipping it right there.
Yeah, that would qualify. Yes.
That is flipping it.
And how about a dozen home runs for this Florida team at this Men's College World Series? Caglione had been tied with Wake Forest Brock Wilken for the national lead, and now Jack Caglione alone. Josh Rivera chops it at Tommy White, and it kicks off his glove, and everything is coming up Gators.
I mean, they've done everything right since they got into the elimination game. You got to win 3 in a row to get to this point for LSU. Yesterday it was clean, and today just isn't their day. But you win the first one, today doesn't have to be your day, because it looks like we will be playing again tomorrow. Blake Money was up in that LSU bullpen. The gate is open, and that means he's going to run in. Tigers back to the bullpen, but a lot of work to do. They trail it 12-3.
Evans skies this one down the line and left. Pearson back at the wall. That ball is gone! It's a grand slam for Evans. One of his 2 home runs in this Game 2 in Omaha in the Men's College World Series Finals. LSU took Game 1 4-3 in 11 innings last night, and Florida trying to force a decisive Game 3 that would be tomorrow night at 7 o'clock right here on ESPN. Blake Money takes over in this cavalcade of arms that spill out of the Tigers' pen.
Former Little League World Series star now back out there for LSU, on for the 20th time. Money does have a few starts this year, so you could take him the rest of the way if you're LSU. Try to save the rest of that bullpen. For Money, a fair amount of sliders against right-handers. He'll throw more sliders than fastballs. Fastball velocity into the low 90s, can get up 94, 95.
Takes over for Bryce Collins. Came on in the 5th, then served up the back-to-back home runs for Florida here in the 6th. P.T. Riopelle with still nobody out for the Gators, leading by 9. One of the other things Jay Johnson said to us pregame down in the dugout was that he really wanted to avoid using Riley Cooper in a situation where obviously closer than this, and wanted to be able to get him rest in case there is a Game 3, because like we talked about earlier, Riley Cooper's pitched a ton and he's been that good for LSU.
Well, I think on the flip side of that, the Tigers don't want to use Riley Cooper. If Florida can win this game and not have to use Brandon Neely, who threw 54 pitches yesterday, that's a huge shot in the arm for a bullpen that's a little short as well, right? So, you know, if Florida can keep this lead comfortable, they can give Neely a day off, and now both teams will be back to their closers.
1-2. Think about Cade Fisher as well. Freshman lefty who came out of the Florida pen for 3 1/3 yesterday.
Really, aside from the one swing, threw the ball great.
He threw 50 pitches.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
One swing was important.
It's outside and a full count on Riopelle. Couple strikeouts and a single so far for P.T. Riopelle here in Game 2. 3-2. Runner goes, and it's cut out and missed. strikes out. So one gone. First base had been occupied by Josh Rivera.
I think I've ever seen a first baseman get that close to the catcher to let him know he didn't need to throw it. Trey Morgan was 20 feet from home plate, waving off Hayden Travinski, making sure he didn't throw it.
Yeah, they're both smiling about it a little. So Rivera to second, one away in the sixth, and Luke Heyman. Heyman skies this one to left, frustrated because he just missed it. Josh Pearson for out number 2.
That's normally what happens to 50-degree balls. I'm still trying to figure out how he hit it 109 at 51 degrees. It is, again, there's a reason it's never happened. It's pretty hard to do.
And how about him challenging that fair pole for a second time at as many innings? Tyler Shelnut now.
Oh,
what game was it when that foul pole was just getting bombarded with line drives? And
it was early.
Was that Sunday night? Florida Oral Roberts?
Put us on the spot. Sounds right.
We're going to go with yes.
Okay. 1-0 pitch.
Yep.
Shelnut couldn't hold off. I mean, this is odd territory to be sitting here in because, again, we've had 8 games that were all one-run games. So, obviously, 8, the combined total of that. And then we got a 9-run ball game right now. Here in the 6th, in game 2 of the finals. 1-2.
9-run game, and nobody had even scored 9 in a game. When early, it looked like LSU may be the team that runs away. I mean, it was 3-1, and it was bang, bang, bang. But you go back and look, even with those 3 runs early, they left them loaded in the first. They left them loaded in the second.
Shelnut up the middle, off the glove of Thompson. Rivera to the plate. Thompson's throw does not get him. And it's a 10-run lead for the Gators here in the 6th.
Thompson gave it all he could right there. That ball just ricocheted too far for him to get to it and keep Rivera from scoring. Nice job there by Taylor Black, sending Rivera all the way. And now a 10-run lead for the Gators.
So with 2 outs, here's Ty Evans again. Ball 1 inside. Ty Evans has 4 home runs in the 5 Florida games here in Omaha. He had 4 home runs in 43 games before Omaha. No player has hit 5 home runs in a single Men's College World Series.
Ever?
Evans is one of 12 with 4.
JD Drew hit 3 in 1 game. 97?
95.
95, he did it?
Against USC. 2-0. Evans takes a slider.
I think that was the same year that Jeff Jenkins hit the zoo. It was one of the prettiest home runs I have ever seen him. He hit it over the stands in right field at Rosenblatt.
And we got confirmation. Nobody with 5 ever. 2-1. Laced foul, 2-2. Christian Little is up in the LSU bullpen. 2-2.
Well, he's pitched here, just in a different uniform. Christian Little's a 17-year-old freshman at Vanderbilt, pitched on this stage and threw well.
He hasn't pitched since the final weekend of the regular season. Two outs, 1 on. Here in the 6th, 2-2. Evans pops it foul. We talked about the rarity of this and the explosion of home runs for Ty Evans. He previously had 1 hit the last 2 months before coming to Omaha. Hadn't homered since April 11th. 2 in this game, of course, including the grand slam. 2-2 again. Inside and a full count.
He was saving them up. Smart plan. Just conserve.
This game is so strange sometimes. He's got 1 hit in the last month and a half. He's 4 home runs in a week.
His first 2 ABs were a double down the right field line and a homer over the bullpen. I mean, it was just a laser show from the jump.
Check swing roller back to Money. Flips, inning over. It is 12 unanswered for the Gators, who lead by 10. A guy who wore 8 before for the Fighting Tigers, Alex Bregman, who, by the way, you can watch on Sunday Night Baseball later on tonight. Florida 13, LSU 3 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. 0-1 on Tommy White with 2, 3, and 4 for LSU here against Nick Ficarota. White on the ground to Colby Halter. Caglione the tag, 1 gone. Sunday Night Baseball in LA. It's Astros and Dodgers. And in game 2, Alex Bregman had a grand slam, but Dodgers got the 1-run win. There was that controversial balk call in the 8th. Dusty Baker got ejected. 7 p.m. Eastern right here on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Ravi calling that one with Eduardo, and Ryan Stanek was not real happy about that ball call last night. Was
I didn't see it.
He did not agree, I think would be the way to put it. Former Arkansas Razorback. Pitched here, didn't he?
Ravi, by the way, we did get confirmation. His flight landed. He made it out west. He's locked in watching. So a hello to Ravi from afar. 0-2 to Trey Morgan is bounced in by Ficarota.
BT's not going to miss those when he's managing money. That's what he's not going to miss.
First, he had to block about 50 splits to start the day, and now he gets clipped on the bare hand.
He's going to be working in an ETF sales group of Franklin Templeton starting at the end of next month. He has said, I'm excited for the time that I'm going to have on my hands. It is a big commitment for these players. Morgan to first. Caglione recovers and flips for out number 2. All right, so we think Caglione on one side. Thatcher Hurd for
probably
LSU if it got to that again. Bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, I would think that's where you'd start. I mean, Guidry would still be good to go. You haven't used Herring.
Yeah.
Griffin Herring will definitely figure in somewhere tomorrow for LSU.
Hurd, Herring, Cooper. And maybe the big guy.
We'll see.
Ball and a strike on Gavin Dugas. It's 123 pitches and 120 pitches in the 2 starts for Paul Skeens.
Come on.
Two-1. Dugas bounces it foul.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? That would be 3 days rest. He started on 4 days rest. Correct, his last time out?
Correct.
Yeah, it was a normal major league rest.
So, he gave you, what was the pitch total last time?
120.
He gave you 120 on 4 days rest. I know there's now a cumulative effect with all of it, right? But it seems to stand to reason he could give you some pretty good bullets on 3 days rest.
Oh, he absolutely can. Yeah, I would be surprised if we don't see him. I think you just have to decide in what role and how do you use him.
The rare 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 6th. On the radar gun.
And he
strikes out on 102. Fastball dotted at 99. Strike 3 called at 100. Gas. 123 pitches. He hit 146 times. He's got the big velocity, and he's got the pitch execution as well, and a ton of strikeouts. You look at the last 25 years, only Jared Weaver with more Ks in a season than Paul Skeens.
Names. I mean, that's a pretty good list right there.
I'd say that's an indicator of things to come.
Yes.
We will see if there is a Game 3, if Paul Skeens is a part of it. And as you guys said, to what extent? 1-1 from Blake Money to Colby Halter. 9-1 in 2 for Florida, up 10 in the 7th in Game 2 of this best of 3. One and 2. Now elsewhere, LSU pitching wise, Thatcher Hurd looked really good, and he's been a different guy down the stretch for the Tigers.
He has. He certainly looks like he's positioned himself nicely to be one of the guys moving into the rotation next year. I would think he's the one, and staring down arguably the biggest moment of his young career.
3 innings of shutout ball Thursday after he followed Paul Skeens against Wake Forest. 2-2. And then if you do have Jack Caglione on the other side, boy, that would be a ton of fun and hype and excitement for a Game 3 winner take all for the national championship.
Caglione's last time out was
found it.
It was erratic,
but he found it.
Effectively wild.
It looked like it might go entirely off the rails, and it didn't. He was able to hang around long enough. His thing is just throwing strikes. I mean, if he throws strikes, it's usually not a lot of damage.
Cut on and missed, and Halter strikes out for the first out in the 7th.
Money kind of short arm action. There's that elevated four-seamer. We're used to seeing that. Gets it to get Halter. So a night after Florida struck out 20 times. A lot better job tonight of putting the ball in play, but not there.
So 1 down, back to the top for Cade Curlin. Freshman second baseman's been on all 4 times. You know, back to Caglione as well. He's got a home run now, and Kevin O'Sullivan said this to us a few days ago, that it's really the first time that he had felt like Caglione maybe got a little sped up. The word he used was maybe just rattled a little bit. There was an RBI record, a home run record that were hovering around, and that Sully thought Jack Caglione might have been aware of. And he said to us, I think that's weighing on him. And they had a conversation about it earlier in the week, back on Monday at practice. 2-1. And so what would it look like for Caglione on the bump? Big pressure situation, but maybe having had a little more time in his second start here to settle in.
I think the approach with Caglione has been more, let's just sit right down the middle. Just try to throw it right down the middle. And let the natural stuff take over. I think it just becomes a very important first inning, because when he struggled the most this year, it started right away. It's a pretty good combination, folks. Two-way player award finalists. I think you can probably take the back end of that sentence off right now and just say winner, one of 3 finalists for the Golden Spikes. Do it again.
Curlin pulls it, and it drops down beside Josh Pearson. Curlin digs and doubles in the 7th.
Well, there's a ton of positives the Gators can take away from what they've done in this ball game. Obviously, you had to win, right? It didn't matter 1-0 or scoring a couple touchdowns. But when you get the top third of this lineup going, and specifically Caglione, because he's going to have the ball in his hand, I just think that one's going to be hard to equate how much better he's going to feel about himself going into that start tomorrow.
Langford ropes one to the wall in left. Curlin scores, and Wyatt Langford is some kind of locked in right now. It's another laser.
He is so much fun to watch when he gets it going, because he does not miss the barrel. Everything is barreled up.
Fastball down and in. We saw last time was a 450-foot homer. This time just a lousy double. Puts a dent in the left field wall as it approaches. Wyatt Langford continues to be an exit velocity line drive ball striking machine.
And Jay Johnson with a visit to Blake Money on the mound.
Like the Brooks Koepka of college baseball, just a ball striker.
Yes, compressing.
Yes.
Lots of compression.
Melted baseballs, a lot of them for the Gators. Christian Little next in line, the 5th LSU arm after this.
You gotta get up. Yeah, you gotta get up. You're living like whoa.
Wyatt Langford helping lead the way for Florida. He's got a 4-hit ball game, and then Jack Caglione went back-to-back with him in the 6th for the Gators. Put up 5 in that 6th. They had a 6-run 3rd inning as well, prompting a 5th different Tigers pitcher. It's Christian Little.
We talked about a little when he was warmed up. Christian Little has been on this stage his freshman year at Vanderbilt. Pitched in the College World Series. Didn't really have a role last year with Vandy. Was started a little, came out of the bullpen, decides to go into the portal. 19 time has been on this year. He did make 8 starts.
And faces Caglione.
That's his only reset.
Here, that's the only reset of the pitch clock for Christian Little on that disengagement. 32 home runs, 87 driven in for Jack Caglione. Again, we've shared this before. He told us unexpected is probably the word that first came to mind for him to describe this season. Thought he might hit 15 home runs, but he didn't anticipate, and I don't know if anyone did, a season quite like this one for the sophomore out of Tampa. This one goes off the glove of Hayden Travinski and advances Wyatt Langford to 3rd.
Been surprised Travinski's still in. Been battling a rib issue or a oblique issue. He had to reach for a fastball from Blake Money and really go up and get it. And it's on the left side. It did not look like it felt good.
Redshirt junior Alex Milazzo. You see it started the last 4 games before this one, including last night. That's a strike. Jay Johnson had said to his pregame that for Travinski, it happened in game 2 of the Super Regional against Kentucky. Jay Johnson said he didn't even remember it happening. But Milazzo had stepped in for Travinski these last few. Chopped to first, and Trey Morgan waited on it and flips to Little for out number 2 as Langford scores. A look of frustration all over for the Fighting Tigers and their fans here in game 2. Now Josh Rivera with the score 15-3.
Well, we knew it was going to be offensive. I don't know that 15 was on anybody's prediction list.
Rolled left field, base hit. Second hit of the ball game for Josh Rivera.
It's hit number 15 for the Gators so far today. Curlin reached base 5 times. Langford reached base 5 times. Caglione 3. Just drove in another one right there. Now Rivera on there for the 3rd time.
Guys, you talked about noticing the looseness of this Florida dugout when we were down here during batting practice, and it was almost like you could feel it coming off the bus. Like Kevin O'Sullivan all smiles, and I asked him how he got the guys to this point, because when I stuck around yesterday, it was heartbreak. I mean, BT Riotfeld sat there for a long time yesterday and just stared at the ground. And he's like, you know what? It's actually pretty easy because this is what baseball is. I didn't really need to have a long speech of, let's get our minds right. The guys just knew. They knew that it still starts today. 2 wins, that's all we need.
And Jack Caglione said this to you, Chris, when he got off the bus as well, that they did this in the regionals. They won 3 straight elimination games. Hayden Travinski had the 4th LSU error just there. So Josh Rivera is now over at third.
He's got a little chippier in here.
Yeah, I don't think Wes Johnson or anybody in the LSU dugout appreciated the stolen base there from Josh Rivera. That was interesting.
In a 12-run ball game. Wes Johnson, of course, the pitching coach for LSU. Soon to be Georgia head coach. 3-0 from Little, and that's a strike to BT Riotfeld. One is a strike at a full count. Christian Little comes home and misses. So Riotfeld walks, and Rivera was running on Hayden Travinski.
Yeah, watch when he has to go get it. It's that one where he has to extend it. It just rips that leg. Oh, yeah.
There he was after the throw on Rivera. And you're right, KP. It's surprising that he's still out there at this point.
Part of the reason that he was in there, Berkey, you said it earlier, was more offensive day, wind blowing out. You'd love to get that bat in the lineup over the defensive-minded Alex Milazzo, but Jay Johnson also said to us in the dugout that Nate Ackenhausen, who of course was the starter for LSU in this game, one of the easier guys on our staff to catch. So they felt like maybe less wear and tear receiving Nate Ackenhausen, who of course now been out of the game for a while.
Well, it's interesting. We haven't seen Travinski make any winces when he's hitting.
Right.
But he definitely looks uncomfortable back there behind the dish right now.
2 on, 2 out, 1-0 to Luke Heyman, his last foul. Heyman reached on the fielder's choice and error back in the 3rd, scored a run that inning in the 6-run frame.
Get out of the way.
Blocked by Travinski, who recovers. Rivera holds it 3rd. Riotfeld advances to 2nd. A classic last night in game 1.
Come on.
It's been one-sided here in game 2. 2-1. Heyman cuts through it.
That 6th spot in the 3rd just blew it all open. And what might have been, right, there was some things that could have gone differently in that inning for LSU defensively, but Florida capitalized.
Well,
It was the 51-degree launch angle home run. Changed the whole inning. I mean, any other day at this ballpark, that's caught, and that's it.
3-2 to Heyman, and he strikes out. Inning over. Florida leads by a dozen, trying to force a game 3 that would be tomorrow night. 15 runs for Florida here in game 2, trying to force this we're getting closer to removing that parenthetical. It would be a Game 3 tomorrow night right here on ESPN at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 local for the national championship. Gorgeous Sunday evening now in Omaha, Nebraska, with Chris Budden, Kyle Peterson, and Chris Burke. Mike Monaco with you. This game produced by Scott Gustafson and directed by Scott Johnson. Bottom of the 7th, Nick Ficarota back to work. Cade Beloso takes strike 1. Beloso has walked 3 times in this game. So 15 runs. Florida has played in 50 games now total at the Men's College World Series. The 15 runs match the most they've ever scored here in Omaha. Put up 15 on Miami back in 2015. It's the 3rd time LSU has allowed 15 in a game here at the World Series.
Played in a game once in Rosenblatt where our starting pitcher got the win and gave up 11 earnings. So
really,
yeah. we beat Georgia 19-12, and I believe Patrick Hicklin got the win. I think he threw 5 or 6 with 11 earned runs. Someone have to fact check me on that, but that's the way I remember it.
Beloso pops this one up, short left center, and Tyler Shelnutt's there for the first down. So a win with 11 earned runs, is that more or less improbable than being traded in big league baseball for yourself?
Well, they're both very small percentages. We also had a guy in that game, Chris Bennett, go 6 for 6. I believe that's still a record.
Wow.
KB, if you're listening, way to go. We got beat 21-13 also that year. It was a little offensive, that series.
And Travinsky grounds it at Colby Halter. Picked by Caglione, 2 gone.
But just to clarify Mr. Monaco's statement, you were in fact traded for yourself at one point.
This is true. I was traded from the Padres to the Mariners for a player to be named later. A couple of weeks later, I was the player to be named later.
Back to the Padres.
Back to the Padres for myself.
This is what we talked about during brunch before the game. Braden Jobert takes ball 1. And for as long as you've known KP had never heard that before.
No, I felt like I'd heard them all. And yeah, you dropped two of them on me today. I'd never heard.
I'm a deep well, KP.
And the other one was really good too. You hit a home run to lead off an inning. Team batted around and then you got pinch hit for it.
That's right. That's when I knew it was time to go to the booth. Got traded for myself and got pinch hit for in the same inning. I hit a homer, and it was not too long after I put my cleats away.
1-2. This one hits Braden Jobert. He's on for the 2nd time. And a 2-out base runner for LSU in the last of the 7th. We've had a lot of oddities at this year's College World Series. We had an inside the park home run. We had all sorts of comebacks, flares for the dramatic from the first game of this thing. Oral Roberts and TCU got it started 2 Fridays ago. Now Jordan Thompson.
The 51-degree launch angle homer just adds to our list of oddities.
I can tell this one is really close to your heart.
I mean, I just can't get over it.
Again, that was 2 home runs for Ty Evans right toward the pole. And you saw the reaction earlier from Nate Ackenhausen, like disbelief that those got out.
I wish we could get a simulator and see where that ball would have landed like 3 days ago. Because yesterday it was kind of blowing out to left, but like.
I bet it would have gone like 200 feet.
Like Halter might have, or excuse me, Tommy White may have had a play on it.
Thompson strikes out, and the inning is over. Player to be named later, folks. 2 weeks later.
Now for today's Capital One rewarding performance. How about Ty Evans? This was a little more standard, even though he wasn't quite sure when it left the bat. That was just a rocket right past the foul pole. Now this one soars above the foul pole. A 51-degree launch homer. Ty Evans setting records, grand slam, tied for the most home runs in College World Series history, having himself one heck of a week here in Omaha.
And how about the dominance of Florida in this game, leading by a dozen into the 8th when their backs were against the wall. Headlined by Ty Evans and this entire lineup. And they picked up a starting pitcher in Hurston Waldrop, who had been so good throughout this postseason for him, but today only went 2 1/3. Now the bullpen has been great, and the bat's been thorough. Christian Little working here against Tyler Shelnut. Four-pitch walk. Tyler Shelnut is on. A couple of changes. Freshman Jared Jones has come in behind the plate for Hayden Travinski, who does exit the game, and Ben Napolt takes over at short for Jordan Thompson. Here's Ty Evans. A strikeout and a ground out since the grand slam. Fouls one off of Jones.
Welcome to the game, Mr. Jones. Jones spent most of his time this year at first base, some in the DH role, but a lot of his prep career behind the plate.
Cut and a miss, 0-2. Kevin O'Sullivan said to Chris Budden that he had seen better BP from Ty Evans. Now 4 home runs here in Omaha. Chops it foul.
I think he's probably going to play again tomorrow.
What a run for Ty Evans. Guy got drafted by the Braves out of high school in the 20th round. 0-2. Misses. Kevin O'Sullivan's been proud of him. He said the other day that Evans has just hung in there and battled. Obviously disappointed with the playing time drying up. Lines this one toward right center field, and a base hit. Shelnut took a big turn and gets back to the bag. First 2 on for the Gators here in the 8th inning.
I like to see that. After wrapping 2 around a pole earlier, using the middle of the field that time for Evans, he had struck out, grounded back to the pitcher. Now stays on one and serves it out to center.
So 2 out there with nobody gone for Colby Halter. Doubled back in the 6th, came around to score one of the 5 runs that inning for the Gators. That's down to start out from Christian Little. How about 14 unanswered? Two and up.
Wyatt Langford a couple hitters away, triple shy of the cycle in this one. A couple singles, a homer and a double. Going to get an opportunity to put his name in the record books.
He's got a 4-hit, 4 RBI game. He's only the 2nd guy to do that here at the College World Series since it moved to this ballpark in 2011. Dominic Fletcher did it for Arkansas in 2018. It's been a monster game for Langford. Halter takes a strike. We ended up having a near cycle for Braden Jobert. early on in this tournament. In the air toward left center. Dylan Cruz coasts to the gap for the first out.
Yeah, Braden Gilbert hit a double, triple, and a homer, and his out was a bullet off of Andrew Lindsay that was going to be a clean single up the middle. A little misfortune there, but huge game one for Braden Gilbert for the Tigers.
Langford one spot behind this guy, Cade Curlin. He's had a great day as well. Infield single, hit by a couple of pitches, a walk and a double his last time, and a hard hit comebacker. This one off of Little, who recovers, and then Morgan stayed on the bag for out number 2.
Trey Morgan just continues to save outs. This ball is smoked right back off the foot of Christian Little. Foot and then the glove, and then this one's where it got uncomfortable.
And so there's 2 in scoring position for Wyatt Langford. 3-run homer and a run-scoring double his last 2 times. And Berkey, just walk us through what you see when he steps in the box.
Well, again, we said simple, stable is, just words that I would use to define the way he sets up. It's pretty vertical with his initial posture. His hands are a little lower than normal, but then he really gets into his legs, right? And the juice that he can create is because of the way he gets into his legs. He does a nice job of separating, even though he starts from a kind of a low hand position. That upper body coils as that leg kick gets into the ground, and from there, I mean, he's such a strong dude. He doesn't have to manufacture a lot with his load.
Ropes another one into left, and here it is. Get it. He needs a triple for the cycle, and will stop at second on another bullet. Go.
What do you think, KP? Should he put the gas pedal down here? He was going to be out.
Be out by about 30 feet. Pearson dives, and when he dives, you think maybe there's a chance.
Right.
He laid out for it, but did a good job of getting back to his feet.
Well, that one felt like it. You're right, though. He really did a nice job of hustling to recover that ball.
And a massive day continues for Wyatt Langford.
5 for 5 with 6 ribbies.
2 doubles, a home run, and a walk. Now Jack Caglione on an 0-1. And Caglione pulls this one to right and to the track. And Gilbert looks up, and it's gone. Caglione's second. And it is a Gator onslaught in game 2. What's the launch angle? What do we got?
Wait a second. 114 miles an hour, and we are being told 56-degree launch angle. We thought 51 was interesting. What about 56, KP? What are we supposed to say about
What's crazy is how different this place plays on a given day. I mean, 2 things that we've never seen happened in the exact same day. And yet any other day that we're here, they're both nonchalant outs. He hits some majestic ones.
Wind or not, I mean, the power is so easy for Jack Caglione.
56 degrees.
I mean, at that exit velocity as well. Nice play up the middle there by Ben Napoltz. Ends another 4-run inning. Jack Caglione to the clouds. 19 for the Gators. How about it, Jack Caglione, and there you have it, Chris Burke. The distance A little farther than that for Cags.
How about the look post-contact? Straight to the sky. Like, it went off of our radar, so we couldn't track the distance. He looks straight to the sky, and that ball just never came down. I mean, Joe Bear thought he was underneath it like 3 different times.
How good has this been from Florida? Josh Pearson pops this one up to begin the bottom of the 8th, and Cade Curlin calls out Jack Caglione. I mean, we're talking about 19 runs from the Gators, needing to win to continue their season. They had come into yesterday on an 8-game winning streak, had the elimination game wins in the regionals, stormed through the supers in some tight ones against South Carolina. 3 one-run wins here. And remember, the #2 overall seed.
Remember the way this started, too. I mean, Florida got the first 2 guys on, then Caglione grounded out. They went strikeout Rivera, strikeout Riopelle, and you're going, ooh, this may be what we saw yesterday, but the Ty Evans solo home run just opened the gates.
Oh. Well, you saved Slater, right? Fisher and Neely, maybe they were available. I doubt it, but you didn't have to worry about it. You got your superstars red hot, feeling good. You got your guy who's going to pitch tomorrow, a 2-homer day. I mean, you couldn't really draw it up better. Even though Waldrop wasn't his usual self today, the Gators, boy, they had one for the memory today. I mean, it just is as special as it gets offensively.
Paxton Kling is the pinch hitter, and it's 2-2.
I think if you're Jay Johnson after this one, it's like, listen, just go have dinner. It still only counts for 1. I mean, this is why yesterday was so special, and then it's show up tomorrow, both sides with a chance to win the whole thing.
Kling reaches off of Cade Curlin's glove. Hey, for more coverage of the NCAA Men's College World Series and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com, your official online home for all 90 NCAA championships.
I'm with you, KP. I mean, when you're playing for a national championship, I think you'd much rather lose a laugher than lose a heartbreaker.
Reset, show up tomorrow. We still got the ability to do what we wanted to do when we showed up first day of fall ball. One to win it all.
Jack Merrifield is the pinch hitter here for LSU. And he goes first pitch swinging on a line to left. Tyler Shelnutt for the second out. Flip side for Florida. Chris Budden's been talking about how loose the Gators were. We saw that a little bit down in the dugout pregame. How do you bottle this and just continue what you found in this game and specifically the top of the line?
Well, I mean, you're going to keep the good vibes going, right? That's not going to change, but the person who can change it is Thatcher Hurd. And Thatcher Hurd's been fantastic. So, you know, just because you're feeling great going into one game, if the other pitcher goes out there and executes the way he's capable of, he can change the vibes in a dugout quickly.
19-3. Ethan Fry, the next in line of the pinch hitters. Ball and a strike. On the ground, foul, 1-2. Gators have had answers when they've been backed into corners here in the NCAA tournament. Wyatt Langford and company showing that again here today. Chopper to third, and Halter puts it in his pocket off the short hop. Ethan Fry is on.
Tough chance there from Colby Halter. He's been playing really, really deep because of how fast and firm this surface is playing right now. That was a do or die charge right there, just kind of clanked off the heel.
And now this one rolled foul by Gavin Dugas. Figueroa's 0-1. And that is rolled at halter. Went for the tag, throws to first, and got the tag at first on Paxton Kling. So the 8th is over. We go to the 9th, and Florida is cruising toward a Game 3 at Omaha. What a great day of baseball we've had here on ESPN throughout the day. It started overseas in London. We had a Golden Spikes Award winner get announced. Game 2 of this Men's College World Series final, and capped off with the Astros and the Dodgers. Sam Dutton is next in line. The sophomore right-hander from Alabama takes over for LSU.
You talk about this plenty throughout. I mean, I think biggest advantage that you look at right now if you're LSU is your bullpen guys, your main bullpen guys should be ready to go tomorrow. Not just ready to go, I think ready to get extended if you need to. And the Gators probably say the exact same thing.
Yeah, I think both teams are here because they have a ton of confidence in the pieces that got them here. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you get to 1-1. It's 1-1 with a title on the line. And both of them probably love their spot.
The
right?
first question, I would assume, that Jay Johnson will have to answer here in about 15 or 20 minutes if everything holds is Skeens available tomorrow?
What do you guys think?
I'm interested to hear his answer.
Yes.
I think he is. Yeah.
And you guys both think it would be bullpen and not starting?
I do. Can I hold back on that until he answers it like in 25 minutes?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
It feels like it's probably that.
We got so many stars here in this finals. And to the 9th, BT Riopel takes strike 1.
I think the other thought would be he hasn't had a relief appearance all year. Obviously, there's so much in front of him from a professional standpoint that maybe you get to the decision-making process that if we're going to use him, we're going to let him go through his normal routine, start the game, and maybe it's
like an opener situation.
Yeah, 45, 60 pitch count kind of thing.
And then on the Florida side, talked about Jack Caglione, Cade Fisher, Brandon Neely. They got Ryan Slater hot in this game, but didn't have to go to him.
Right. It'd be good there.
I mean, think about those forearms. Riopel strikes this one well. Center field. Kling looks up, and it's 20 for Florida. Their 6th home run of the ball game.
Six homers in one College World Series game, and Riopel knew it to dead central. A no-doubter, and on a day like today, you get one like that, you can get into your slow stroll. What a bomb by BT Riopel, 435 feet.
He did the whole single thing, and now he's back to the home run thing.
He's over that.
Tucker Talbot is the pinch hitter. Richard sophomore comes on in the DH spot for Luke Heyman. What a showing by the Gators.
20.
This was loud.
I thought there might be a Rosenblatt kind of score today, but I didn't see it. 20-4.
And you guys said it doesn't matter how you get there.
Right.
You get to game 3. It doesn't matter for Florida what happened in game 1 on Saturday. Come back today with a blitzing, and it's on to Monday night. 2-1, misses. 3-1.
And emotionally, like LSU
They were able to check out a couple innings ago as they started subbing players, and this thing got really lopsided. Which is a big part of the battle, right, on the bounce back thing. It's just mentally being able to get past it. Hey, these guys they're already past it.
Talbot strikes out, and there's one gone for Dutton here in the ninth. So just think about what's at stake tomorrow night. Winner take all for a national championship. Florida looking for its second. LSU looking for its seventh. And this is a finals that started with all 3 Golden Spikes Award finalists. The projected top 3 picks in the MLB draft as well. And it's going to be one game for everything.
We get one more day of it.
Yeah, we're the winners. College baseball gets a primetime game 3.
Swing and a miss from Tyler Shelnut, 1-1. Florida's the 7th team to score 20+ runs in a College World Series game. The record is 23, and that's been done twice. You got to go back to 2001 to find the last time a team put up 20 in a game here.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, sorry.
Thank you, Mike.
Against you guys. At 21-13.
We hung in there.
You did.
We a couple touchdowns ourselves, missed an extra point, but we hung around.
Those guys have been stars, Evans and Langford. Shelnut to center, and another knock for Florida. 20 hits in the ball game for the Gators.
Yeah, with BT's home run, everybody in the starting lineup in Florida scored. Curlin 4 times, Langford 4 times.
Another pinch hitter on for Florida here. Matt Prevesk. Fouled off on the first pitch. Matt Prevesk, a Florida native. Started a few games last year. And comes out here in the spot of Ty Evans. Down from Dutton.
It's very rare in a College World Series game that these coaches get to allow players opportunities to have their moment. This is pretty cool. Some of these guys getting a chance to say they had an AB in the College World Series.
And Prevesk pulls it in the right field, and he's got a hit in Omaha, and then this one gets past the right fielder, Ethan Fry. And that's the way it's gone on both sides here in this one. "21 hits and 21 runs for Florida.
That's now 5 LSU errors today, too. Turn the page.
Yeah, they had
They
3.
will.
They had 3 the entire College World Series coming into today. They've been really good defensively. One to forget today.
Oh!
Colby Halter's got a double in this one. Part of that well-balanced effort up and down the entire lineup. Only twice has a team scored more runs in a men's College World Series game than what Florida has done with 21 in this one. Arizona State with 23 in 1984, and Notre Dame with 23 runs on Northern Colorado in 1957.
Just had to get Notre Dame in there, didn't
he? 1-1. And that's down to Halter.
Yeah, but did they have 250+ degree launch angle homers in those games?
Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. I'm certain of that.
It's been a wild one. And all Gators. On the screws to center. And it drops down. 22-3 is the Florida lead.
Nobody had scored more than 7 runs in a game coming in. This is an outlier on a lot of different levels today.
And now Dale Thomas will pinch hit for Florida. Here at the margin at 19. Again, it's 21 unanswered as well. When do you ever say that?
Yeah, you say it when Joe Burrow was playing quarterback for the Tigers, or Tebow for the Gators. That's when you say it.
Sam Dunn working here in the 9th. And is 1-0 to Dale Thomas, the Coastal Carolina transfer. Dutton deals, and it's a 4-pitch walk to Dale Thomas. Scorebooks are messy today, boys.
Yeah, there's a lot of ink.
We'll get another pinch hitter here, and it's Michael Robertson who hits for Wyatt Langford. And when the story is told of this Florida team years from now, Michael Robertson will have a special place in the tale for the Gators. And the catch that he made against TCU to end the ball game Wednesday with Braden Taylor, the superstar for the Horned Frogs, at the plate. And Robertson ran back, crashed into the wall, and hung on to it to punch a ticket for Florida into the finals.
How far would that ball have gone today?
Yeah, there wouldn't be any catching that one. That'd have been 30, 40 feet over the 408.
Hold on just 1 second.
Yeah, Braden Taylor hit a ball 110 miles an hour that TrackMan said went 411. And 0 balls at those metrics this year in the big leagues have been outs. 0. But Michael Robertson made that play. Huh. Put that on our list of anomalies from this week.
We've seen it all. Robertson said afterward, if it's in the air and it's going to be close to the wall, I'm running through it. He said it traveled further than I initially thought it was going to, and said in the moment I kind of almost blacked out, but it looked all right on camera. Redshirt freshman from Venice, Florida, a starter for most of the season for the Gators. 2-2. And pretty cool that he plays a big role, even though at one point he was in an 0 for 30. And that he's still able to, after losing his starting job, find a way to help out a ball club.
Yeah. I'll tell you something, the Gators get the lead late tomorrow. He's going to be in center field.
Oh.
Full count.
You can run like that and defend like that. You can help a ball club. Finally, Sully decided that the bat just wasn't working well enough to stay out there to start the game, but he certainly helps them being able to shore up that defense at the end of games.
Robertson pulls it foul. 3-2. Bounced in, and it kicks away on ball 4. So Robertson walks, and the Gators have him loaded with 1 out in the 9th inning. And of course, from the LSU side, you want to protect any arm that you might use tomorrow in a winner-take-all for the College World Series. Get another pinch hitter here, and it's Derek Fabian. Came off the bench last night as well in game 1. Brother Judd, of course, former star for Florida, ended up being a 2nd-round pick of the Orioles. Strike 1 to Derek Fabian.
Fabian started a ton of games last year for him, too. Hasn't quite as much this year.
Sophomore from Ocala lines this one to left center field, and it's a base hit. And Florida's got 24 runs in this game, the most ever in a College World Series game.
And why not at this point? Hanging breaking ball that actually that was
not bad.
Decent pitch. Fabian, go down and get it. Get your legs and drives in the 2 runs that makes history for the Gators.
The 23 hits are tied for the most in a game here as well at the College World Series. We have seen it all here in Omaha over the last 9 or 10 days. What else might we have in store tomorrow?
We've seen a lot. I don't think we've seen it all. I feel like there's new frontiers.
Again, that is going to be special tomorrow night. Game 3, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock Central. You can watch it right here on ESPN. 2 of the top 5 seeds in the country coming into this thing. Rivera strikes out. 2 gone. Whose pitching situation would you guys rather be in tomorrow? Caglione, Neely, Slater, Fisher, or Hurd, Cooper?
Are you including Skeens?
The possibility of Paul Skeens.
I think it's a push, and I know that's not a great answer to your question, but I don't know that there's starkly an advantage one way or the other, which should set up for a good one.
I think if Skeens has 2-3 innings in him, then I would lean advantage LSU.
P.T. Rappel takes a strike. Florida will have the momentum headed into game 3. Two. You guys said earlier for LSU the plan just flush it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, other than those that are still on the field, like it's already been flushed.
Yeah.
Rappel strikes out, and the inning is over. 5 spot in the 9th for Florida on a historic day. Mookie Betts and the Dodgers host the Astros coming up on Sunday Night Baseball at the top of the hour right here on ESPN. Welcome back to the NCAA Men's College World Series presented by Capital One. The shots from around Omaha, where we will play baseball for another day tomorrow night with a winner-take-all game 3, as Florida has scored a record-setting 24 runs in game 2 and 23 unanswered against LSU, who took game 1 in extra innings yesterday. Gabe Beloso grounds out, and that's how Nick Ficcarota starts the bottom of the ninth. Ficcarota, for his part, has now been out there for 4 1/3 of shutout ball. Hasn't walked anyone and has only given up 2 hits.
All those names you were reading, guys in that Florida bullpen available tomorrow, in large part because of that. You needed somebody, if you're Florida, to be lined up the best. You needed somebody today to go out and get you 9 to 12 outs out of the bullpen. Ficcarota's been that guy.
And how about Blake Purnell coming in and getting the double play of Tommy White, right? That game was still very much in the balance at that point in time.
2-0 on Jared Jones.
This guy can hit it to the moon, too. I mean, Jared Jones is a name that you're going to hear a lot about the next 2 years.
Freshman from Marietta, Georgia, listed at 6'4", 230 pounds. With 14 home runs this season, freshman All-American. Facing Ficcarota, he's at 68 pitches, and he has been massive. Cut and a miss, 2-2. Ficcarota arrived as a walk-on at Florida. Eventually, he's going to be going to physical therapy school. Right, 4th-year player and arm for the Gators. On the ground towards second, and Dale Thomas throws out Jones. Brings up Braden Jobert with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. And Ficcarota trying to finish this for Florida. Jobert a walk and was hit by a pitch his last time in the 7th. Jobert, center fields. To the track and got it. Braden Jobert to straightaway center fields. And LSU gets a solo shot here in the ninth.
And the Tiger fans that are left are still excited. That one, we are just not used to seeing the ball just ease out to dead center field, KP.
We got something positive on that Tiger side to end with. Jobert stays on one. Yeah, that just kept going. That looked like a routine fly ball was going to end it. Traveled about 2 feet beyond that outfield fence.
Now Ben DePolt.
Corner.
LSU took a 1-0 lead in the first. Florida tied it up in the second on a Ty Evans home run. LSU got 2 in the bottom of the second, and then it was all Florida until that swing in a massive way. Chopper right side at Fabian, and it's foul. Ficcarota's 1-2 is up high, 2-2 on DePolt. Chopper foul. Ficcarota 1 strike away, and it's on the ground off of Ficcarota. Caroms to Fabian. He flips. Ball game. Ficcarota's fired up, and Florida fights on to a Game 3 against LSU tomorrow night.
That was a heck of a play, by the way, to end that thing. And off the bat, this thing's humming, and Ficcarota wears it off the spike and then goes dead sprint over. Fabian hits him in stride. Lightfoot just gets down there. The big boy went 5 complete today to lock it up. 24 runs for the Gators. Christopher.
Well, I don't even know what to say about that offensive performance, but the Gator bullpen was fantastic, and Caglione and Langford put on a show today that has to get this Gator offense going. One of the most talented groups in America put on a show for us today.
The last 2 teams standing in college baseball will play one game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern for everything to close it down at the Men's College World Series. Coming up next, it's Baseball Tonight Sunday Night Countdown, anchored by Kevin Connors. For Chris Budden, Kyle Peterson, Chris Burke, and our entire crew behind the scenes, Mike Monaco saying so long now to KC with Baseball Tonight.